What's your emergency?
Welcome back to That Weewoo Show, a podcast where we watch and discuss episodes of the ABC show 911. I'm Bex.
I'm Alice.
And I'm Ellen.
And welcome back to part 2 of the tsunami arc. We are very excited to keep talking about possibly the highest rated, most loved episodes of 911 to date. And we have a special guest to join us to discuss these episodes because we want to share the love of the tsunami arc. So welcome, special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi. So I'm Mads. Do I do shameless self-plug?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go for it. Yeah.
So I'm at _ the Mads Buckley over on Twitter or X or whatever we call it.
We call it Twitter.
We
dead
shamelessly
name.
dead name over here. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so over on Twitter. So I do art and edits, and I'm starting to work on fics as well over there, so that's fun. But yeah.
Awesome. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So when we started the podcast, we had our very own origin stories. So would you like to explain how Mads began in 911?
Oh, God. So I definitely discovered the show through TikTok. I had random scenes, just, you know how like sometimes you get on your For You page just random scenes from TV shows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had those and I thought it looked funny. So I started watching it, I think, during season 6, I want to say.
Ooh, what an interesting season to come in on.
Yeah, but I didn't get to season 6 during that time. I only got up to like season 4, like halfway through season 4, before the big thing in season 4 happens for those who have watched it. And so I didn't know about that. And then I saw about, you know, the events that happened in 704, and I started rewatching, and then I caught up just before season 7 ended. So it's been a bit of a weird journey.
Very, very up and down, but I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, I binged watched it like within a couple of weeks before the end of season 7. And yeah, I didn't join Twitter until like last month, though. I'd been kind of just skulking behind the scenes, sneaky style. And then obviously season 8 came, you know, started airing, and I was like, oh, I've definitely got to talk to people about this because no one in my life watches it, and I'm a little bit addicted, so
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a tad.
Why do you think we started this podcast? Because we needed somebody to scream about this show with.
It was so bad. Like, I was talking to my friends and stuff, and they had no idea what I was talking about. They're like, why do we care? Because you should. Like, please.
You should. Just love the gay firefighters.
I think that's probably how we got into supernatural fandom in the first place, by like needing to talk to somebody about this.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
I know this show has been off the air for 5 years, but please talk to me about it.
I remember, I think I did watch Supernatural. I think I got up to season 12, and I think because of the fact that I didn't actually realise that fandom existed, that I could actually talk to people about it, but it got to a point where I was like, I can't be here watching this and have no one to talk to about it.
Aww.
But it's fine. We'll watch it eventually, like all the way through.
It'll be the reverse. Like the pipeline will suddenly become a vacuum, like
Yeah,
sucking
exactly.
people up from 911 to Supernatural.
I have
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
seen people on Twitter that are just like, oh, do you think I should get into Supernatural, that are from the 911 fandom? And everyone's like, yes.
I'm just like,
Yes.
no, don't do it. Don't do it.
I actually told someone like last week, I'm like, you'll love it. You'll hate it, but you'll love it.
You will hate me for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is one of those types of shows. It's like you either love it or you hate it.
Oh no, you love it and hate it.
Both, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we love it. It's
Yeah.
our favourite show, but we hate the show. It's so bad.
There are parts of it that are brilliant, and other parts are just like, what?
Like,
And
why?
also,
Which
like,
kind of explains why we like 911 so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly.
Yeah. Like,
We love this
Tsunami
show,
is
but also, oh
perfect.
my god.
Some of the stuff that happened, you just have to sit there and you're like, okay, sure. accept
That
this.
was the entire, like, the last episode that we just recorded previously. We were like, okay, we're just going to have to hand wave all of this because...
Yeah,
It's
for
just-
once, Ellen and Alice were getting up in arms about the inaccuracies of the Miami
Miami?
geography and where
No,
the roads
wrong
were.
place.
And I'm just sitting here going, just let it go. Just let it go.
Like, we full on had Google Maps open last night, like, tracking where the tsunami took Buck and Chris.
Oh my
Like,
god.
It was a whole thing, and Vex is like, you guys are looking way too much into it. I'm like, no, I found the lights that Buck grabs.
That's actually impressive, though.
It was just the irony that it's usually me
It's
sitting
usually
there
Vex.
going,
I was
this
gonna
is
say, like-
completely inaccurate. But at this one, I just realised how futile it was going to be trying to explain this one, and I've just thrown my hands up and gone, nah, I'm out.
So you have to at some point be like, okay, the insanity of this situation is just too insane that, like,
Yes.
trying to make anything else sane is just not plausible.
I'd reached my limit. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this one. I'm not touching this
I
one.
can't do it anymore.
Well, the good thing is that it's actually a great couple of episodes, so
Yeah.
we can forgive their craziness, I guess.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're fantastic episodes.
So how are we going to start this?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, how are we going to talk about this?
Mads,
Two-episode
Alice,
arc.
I think we can just discuss both of them together.
Okay.
I made a few notes, but I'm also not 100% sure which episode started where. Because I
Yeah,
watched
we'll just
all
talk about
three.
the arc, it's fine.
Because obviously I watched the first episode too, just because, like, the emergency, starts at the end of that.
Yeah.
So I have notes from the first episode just because I was like, oh, I don't know where we're starting.
We can start wherever we want.
So the arc starts with, obviously, the tsunami, but with Buck and Chris at the pier having a lovely day. And
Yes.
the wave appearing in the distance. So,
Yes.
like, when did you first watch this episode? Like, it was obviously you said you binged the whole series in a couple of weeks. So you just obviously you probably watched these all back to back and everything to start with, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Which I would have hated being the people watching this as it came out.
Right?
I don't know if I could have handled that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was stressed enough watching it years later.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I just immediately went to the next episode going, oh, what do you mean a tsunami hit? What do you mean?
What do you mean Christopher's gone?
What do you mean?
Yeah. And I think we could start off with saying that Oliver does such a brilliant job of just looking absolutely distraught.
Oliver acts his absolute heart out in these episodes.
These three episodes, I think, are his best acting, like, of the whole show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just fully embraced that role.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think my first notes from it's episode 2, the first notes I have is just about the scene where, like, the wave has just hit Buck and Chris in is it like a soft toy tent, like a prize tent?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
one of those
yeah.
baseball tosses that's randomly just appeared in the middle of the pier, even though there are no other kind of Sideshow Alley games there. It was just like, oh, we need an
Just, like,
obstacle somewhere to hide Chris. Let's just drop a booth there.
Yeah, it's so random too. Like, why? Okay, sure.
Why? Because.
None
Just
of
because.
magic. Yeah.
But as that water hits, and then there's those camera flashes of just, like, him in the water, under the water black. Like, that is some of the best cinematography I've ever seen on TV. Like, it gets me every time just how incredible that one little section is.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very disorientating even to watch.
Yeah. Like, I can't even imagine, but that made it a really good way to imagine that situation.
Yeah, we were saying that when we were talking about the last episode that they got washed some distance, and it was really lucky that they actually popped up at the same place. Like when they actually found each other, they were quite close
The
together.
likelihood
Which
of
is,
that happening is probably not not very likely,
Yeah.
but, you know, we'll
Well, I mean,
accept
Timeline
look-
it.
magic. Yeah.
Look at the 136. Lena ends up in the Ferris wheel. Cooper ends up halfway in the suburbs. And the rest of the 136, they manage to find them sort of within the staging area. So
Yeah.
for Lena to end up over there, Ronnie to end up over there, but somehow Buck and Chris managed to end up close together.
Yeah,
It's
and
just-
Lena's like, oh, I swam. Girl, come on. It's like, there's no way you swam from wherever you ended up to the Ferris wheel again. Like, there's just no...
That's right. We're going to hand wave. We're just going to enjoy. We're not going to think too hard about it, or we're going to get ourselves an aneurysm.
But the funny part about that Ferris wheel is that I'm not even really sure where the Ferris wheel is. I was going to look it up actually before now, but I haven't. Because I thought it was on the pier. But
Is it not on the
when the
It's off to
guy...
the side.
Yeah, the guy who's taking on the top of the Ferris wheel taking the video, and he is looking at the pier
At
from
the
like
pier. Yeah.
behind
There's
the
also
pier.
the couple that are in the, you know, the one that we follow in the episode. They also walk past Buck and Chris to
Yes,
get
they
to
do.
the Ferris wheel.
Yes.
So it's like, it's such a weird framing of how to get there.
Yeah, I need to have another look at maybe that first part of the episode just to work out where the Ferris wheel actually is. But when like Bobby and Eddie are coming back from the to shore from the Ferris wheel, they walk underneath the sign that says "Welcome to Santa Monica Pier." So the Ferris wheel's actually obviously out
So the
there
Ferris wheel's
somewhere.
on the pier, but there's like a offshoot on the left,
Hang on.
and then like
Okay.
the actual pier part is like obviously at the end of the pier.
I
But I don't know why they would have walked past Eddie.
It's so confusing, but anyway,
Because that's
doesn't-
where the harbour office is at the end of the pier.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
And then when
Right.
you look back, the Ferris wheel's
There.
behind.
So they got washed past the Ferris wheel
Yes.
and into the buildings that are
Correct.
behind that. So
Yeah.
we're going back to the map again. This is bad news. Let's not do that.
We're going to have to just... I'm telling you, we have to take a group trip to LA just to be like, this was inaccurate, guys.
No.
The park benches also aren't that close to the railing, but sure, Buck.
Yeah. I have seen other people point that out.
They're also facing the water, not facing in, but, you know.
I did find that strange when, you know, they're sitting on it and Buck's not facing the water. I'm like, why? Why? Sure.
He's like, fuck the water. I'm sick of the water.
He's like, oh, you have a look, Chris. It's fine. I'll just sit here, watch people. It's fine.
All right. Okay, so this episode is called The Searchers. It aired on the 7th of October in 2019. And the simple summary just says, in the wake of a tsunami, the first responders race to save lives. That's pretty much it. Oh, and Buck fears the worst when Christopher goes missing.
Yep.
That's it. So the triggers that we have listed here include cops doing cop things.
Mm-hmm.
We have children at threat, a field amputation, which is a new one. Fun and games in this episode. A gas leak, which leads to an explosion, and we have a tsunami.
Shit, no way.
Gee, no way. Really?
So it actually does get straight into the action, right? Like we just open with news reports saying that the tsunami's happened, and then it's just Buck screaming. So
It was
Yeah,
really
pretty much.
interesting because remember the beginning of season 2, they had the window hanger at the end of the second episode, and then the third episode, it was like the window hanger never happened.
Yeah.
They just immediately went, oh, we had people hanging out a window. Nah, we've done with that. So it was
That's
really
right.
nice that for this for the episode 3, after having the cliffhanger of Chris being missing, they did pick up pretty much immediately after that, where Buck is still looking for Christopher.
Yeah.
So we had that little bit of continuity, that little bit of, yes, this is what happened, but it's like 30 seconds and then they jump back in time to 20 minutes before the wave to deal with minor characters who we've never seen before and will never see again.
Love
But we
minor
do
characters.
have the important moment where he thinks he finds Chris because there's a woman screaming about a kid being stuck under a giant neon sign. It turns out it's not Chris, but Chris's glasses have been washed up onto a pile of debris.
Oh, yeah. And it goes all slow-mo and he's, like, putting them around his own neck, just looking so devastated.
sad.
He picks them up and keeps them so he can give them back to Christopher when he finds him.
The costume department's also actually remembered that Buck is in floodwater because at the end of last episode,
his shoes and his shirt were so white.
they were still bright white. And now it's like he's so dirty, he's so bloody. He looks defeated.
Well, he
like
has just come out of an outgoing wave. So
Yeah,
the water's going to be a lot more dirty.
He really wasn't in. I guess he wasn't in the water that much in the first part, so everything did stay nice, shiny white. But yes, it is much more realistic that he is filthy right now.
Yeah, but like he's like at the end of last episode, I'm pretty sure he still had like a shirt on, and now he's just got a t-shirt
I think
on.
he lost the shirt while he was rescuing all the people.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Either way, he's just wearing a white t-shirt, and it's very see-through, and no one's mad about it.
And we can see the tattoos. I love that we can see the tattoos.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you, costume department.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then randomly we go from this, heart-wrenching scene to 20 minutes before the first wave again. We did this in the last episode as well.
It's like Groundhog Day. We keep getting jumped back to 20 minutes before the wave.
Oh, yeah, but this time we're with different people.
We are with Max and
Stacey
Stacey.
Yeah.
Yes, who have returned to the pier to end their marriage.
As you do, because
Yes, apparently this is where they
sign divorce
started
papers. Yeah.
their relationship.
It's such an odd, like, way to do it. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it seems like they're going to part ways amicably, I suppose. They're not, actively hurting each other at the moment. They seem okay to spend the day together before they sign any paperwork.
Max does say that he has orchestrated this because he's looking for a sign as to whether they should go ahead with the divorce or not. And I will give David Fury, who wrote this episode, props for the fact that the tsunami interrupts them signing the papers, and Max takes that and when he gets hurt, Stacey looks after him. They resolve that he gets rescued, and you would think, like in a normal soap opera, they'd be like, oh my god, I just remembered, I still love you, let's stay married, we'll live together happily ever after. But no, he's gone, yeah, we survived, I still love you, but I do not want to be married to you anymore. This is the sign that we need to divorce.
Yeah, I do like that it's a switch up, like, of the cliche, like, instead of being a first date, it's a last date.
Yes.
And yeah, they
don't
that
change
switch
their
up.
minds.
Yeah.
I think when I first watched that episode and they actually went through with the signing of the papers, I was like, oh, okay. Like,
Yeah,
that's new.
Well, it was kind of like, it reminded me of that episode in season maybe 1 or like early in season 2 where the mum and her son was trapped in the elevator, and then when they finally got out of there, and she was like,
all right, get out.
Yeah, move out.
Like,
yeah.
I don't want you anymore, get out, like. Yeah.
Oh, trapped.
It reminded me of
What a
that.
great episode.
So now we've gone through the entirety of those two and their
we never have to go
story
back to the
in this
Ferris wheel.
episode. We don't have to talk about them anymore.
Yay!
We need to set it up because we do come back to them slightly later with Lena and Eddie.
Bex is here just like, I just want to talk about Lena. It's
Yes,
fine.
I'm sorry. I love Lena. I think she's great. But yeah, they're up in their little insert whatever we're calling those things that are on a Ferris wheel because I still haven't figured that out.
Are they carts?
I think we decided car. yesterday? I can't
Car,
remember.
boat, cabin, I have no idea. Whatever the...
The
I don't
poor
think it
people who
matters.
listens to these episodes back to back are going to be like, they just spoke about it like 20 minutes ago. It's the next day. We've all had work. We're very tired.
Max has slipped the operator $50 to stop them at the peak of the Ferris wheel, so they're in prime position so they can see when the tsunami happens. And as it hits and as the wave hits the Ferris wheel, Max, who is filming the entire thing on his phone rather than, freaking out, stumbles backwards and hits the back of his neck on the edge of the card. And for some reason, the Foley department decide that glass shattering is the perfect sound to accompany that.
Yeah, I was looking at it going, what just broke then?
Yeah, that's Perspex. That's not glass. That's not going to shatter like that. Or if it is going to shatter like that, it's not going to sound like glass shattering.
That's, it's glass _shatter_3. Oh, sorry, 03.
They do love that sound. That's just the default something broke sound. We're going to use that one. I also have slight issues with how a man as tall as Max manages to stumble and hit the back of his neck in a little container that small, but I'm not going to focus on that.
It's fine.
It's
Magic
quite
for
a
the
good effort
drama.
To, manage to
For
do
the
that,
drama.
yeah.
But I would like to point out that them signing the divorce papers in that cart in front of each other is not legally binding.
Oh, okay.
I'm
you
pretty
have to do
sure.
it in front of a legal
Yeah,
representative,
I
or-
don't entirely know how California law goes, but I'm pretty sure that those kind of papers need to be notarized. And especially here in Australia, being a lawyer and having gone through this process myself, the number of times I had to go down to the Justice of the Peace to get them to witness me signing papers was ridiculous. So yeah, they couldn't even sign them in front of Eddie and Lena and have them witness it. It has to be a very specific person witnessing them. So yeah, it's a wonderful, symbolic, it's a lovely romantic notion, but it means fuck all legally. They're still married.
Wait till he finds out when he wakes up after.
I was going to say, she's going to take the
No,
papers
hospital.
down and they're like, sorry, but you actually didn't do these here?
Yeah, these are soaking wet with
And that
tsunami.
does not look like your
dumb.
signature because you've written it upside down and while you're immobilized to a backboard.
Yeah, and
Is that blood on it?
the
What
fingers
are
not
these?
really even functioning. How did you sign?
Did she force you to do this? What's going on here?
Were you under duress?
Yes.
Yeah. The funniest thing is that she says, just like our marriage, this ride is suddenly going nowhere. I'm like, damn, girl, that's me.
Damn, Stacey.
The other thing that bugged me was that, yeah. There's going to be lots of things that bug me this episode. I was willing to let the tsunami go, but now I'm back on my soapbox with nitpicking. So this guy has fallen, he has hit the back of his neck, and Stacey has decided the best position to put him in is with his neck awkwardly propped up against the side of the little cart thingy with her bag shoved under his neck. And girl, if he didn't
she's
have
no first
spinal
aider,
injuries
okay? She doesn't know what
beforehand,
she's doing.
he does now.
Yeah, it's her fault that he started losing sensation.
Exactly.
It's I can't feel anything, and they're just well, yeah, you're
It's just
your
compressed
wife
your spinal
actually
cord. Look,
paralysed
I
you.
get that he's tall. I get that you can't lay him flat because there's not enough room. But lay him flat and then have his legs sticking up off the side of the cart or something. Just prioritize that spinal column. All right, I'm done now. I'm okay.
Are you sure?
Bex is going back to a cave for a little bit.
All right, so the wave hits the Ferris wheel. We've already gone over that, but Eddie and Bobby are jump to the future. Eddie and Bobby are going to the Ferris wheel on their boat. Mm-hmm. This is the scene that we already saw in the previous episode
With
basically.
the La Bombera.
Yeah, this is the
a bit faster.
Yeah, the fire,
The fire
lady.
lady.
Stacey says that they'll fix it because everything can be fixed, and Max is not everything, which is more foreshadowing to their end of their marriage. Bobby says
we
some
get the
technical
extended
stuff.
scene where Lena calls down for help and we see Eddie start to climb up the Ferris wheel to get to her, to help her. Because she is stuck in one of the little carts with absolutely petrified man who is refusing to come down until the water's gone. And Lena is on her last little bit of patience, because she says, if you don't come with us, then the whole thing will be gone. You can't wait for the water to leave. But it's a good thing that Eddie is there, because he has a safety harness that he is able to put the guy in, rather than just trying to convince him to climb down on his own.
Yeah, and he finally agrees. But just as he's about to be lowered down, the waves start coming again, and he in the what do you call that thing? Ferris wheel. That's it. God, I'm losing the words already.
Oh no!
The Ferris wheel
faster.
starts to move. No, it's all right. It starts to move, and the guy starts panicking. He's like, "Get me down! Don't let me fall!" Like, oh. But they managed to get him down and into a boat.
I will say, like, as someone who is afraid of heights, I did relate really hard to that man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Can't fault him for freaking out a little bit. It's a bit of a nasty situation.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I have the double thing there. I have fear of heights plus fear of drowning. So I would have just been like, nope.
Just like
Damned if
leave me
you do,
hanging in
damned
the
if you
air.
don't.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, can't stay up here, can't go in the water, I'm stuffed. I'd just be like, there's a pretty firefighter up here, I'm just going to stay with Lena. Thank you.
Yeah, the funny thing is that this guy is being lowered down and is absolutely freaking out, and these two are just chilling.
Yeah.
They're just flirting, as you do.
No, it's not flirting though. It's so interesting. Like I said last episode, I don't sort of look into the inside baseball with these episodes, but I'm curious. I wonder whether they were intending for Lena to be introduced as a future love interest for Eddie, because the two of them give off such sibling energy. I could not imagine.
So true.
I could not imagine them getting together.
I think they were trying so hard to do that, because there are certain scenes throughout, like, the whole, like, episode where it's like, oh, okay, I can see what they're trying to do.
And it doesn't
But
work.
it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Eddie's like punching Lena on the shoulder, like, yeah, bro. Hey, you broken ribs, bro?
Oh, yeah, but it doesn't. It just, they naturally fall into an older brother, younger sister dynamic.
Yeah.
The way they bicker with each other. So I don't know what the intention was, but I love this feisty bantering that he ends up with Lena.
Yeah, she clocks him as a soldier, like, right away.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they climb all the way up to where Max and Stacey are, and sort of, that we've been over that part already. They help them out. And he gets, like, airlifted out of there in a helicopter, which must be an absolute terrifying experience, being, like, strapped to a backboard and you can't see what's underneath you. All you can see is this helicopter above you.
And it doesn't look like they're hauling him up to the helicopter either. They just carry him off, and he's dangling under the helicopter for a good while.
Terrifying.
I wonder if they just, like, continually just have him underneath the helicopter the whole way.
Yeah,
They have
just
to
take
bring him
back
up
to
at
the
some
hospital like
point.
that.
Could you imagine?
They
No,
have to. Surely that can't be safe to have
they
him
can't just leave him dangling like
dangling
that.
under there.
Just, like, dodging buildings.
Lower him down to the ground. No.
Oh, another wave's coming, go higher.
But just as they get Max out, and I'm assuming that they then use the climbing gear that Eddie has to lower Stacey out, because when the debris wave that Bobby mentioned at the end of the last episode hits,
We don't really find out what happened to Stacey, do we?
Yeah, he and Lena are the only two on the Ferris wheel.
Hey, at least she got a name.
Yes.
Yeah, but like we didn't see her jump into the water or anything.
No,
like,
so I'm assuming that
she didn't do anything.
they got her to climb down. But then Eddie and Lena have to free drop or free fall into the water to get down so that they're off the structure before the debris wave hits and completely knocks the Ferris wheel over.
Yeah, they get away.
And then we stick with Bobby for a little bit longer. We end up back on the pier.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They get ashore and they go underneath the sign that says, "Welcome to the Santa Monica Pier."
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at your notes with the... Rhonda was a bit flaily. Ryan looked neat.
Bex's notes are the best.
I do wonder whether that was a stunt that they let Rhonda and Ryan do, or whether that was their stunt doubles.
Yeah, because, like, Oliver got to do a lot, so I'm sure Ryan was just like, I want to do stuff.
Yeah, let me jump off the Ferris wheel into the
fine,
tank.
Jump in the fucking water. Jesus Christ.
Whether that was deemed, like, too much for them to do. The 118 are going to be hoofing it for a bit because they can't get the trucks to them. And Bobby tells Lena that her crew, the 136, are all alive and accounted for except for Captain Cooper. And Lena says that she's going to stick around the pier and look for him. Which is when Bobby clocks the way that she's holding herself. She's got like one arm protectively pressed to her side. And she immediately is on the defensive, like, it's nothing, it's just a bruised rib. And so Eddie sort of goes over and immediately pokes her in the rib. It's not even like a gentle examination. He literally jabs her, which of course it's going to fucking hurt.
Excellent.
So he decides, yeah, that's not bruised, that's broken. And Bobby tells her that he's pulling her from the field. He wants her to head to the VA hospital and then six his babysitter, i.e. Eddie, on her to make sure that she actually gets there. Because apparently that's what Eddie is. He is the designated babysitter for the pouty...
For every firefighter.
But the pouty young firefighters that don't follow orders. First he was hired to look after Buck, now he has to look after Lena.
Yeah. Like, Buck was so rebellious, finally Abby, like, pinned him down. Abby leaves, he's like, fuck, now I've got to hire another babysitter.
This one will do. It's perfect.
This one's cute, I'm sure Buck will like it. Bit of a rescue situation.
I think he probably thought that Eddie, being ex-military, that he would actually follow orders, and that didn't last very long.
That lasted terribly.
Buck was a really bad influence.
Buck's a terrible influence.
Eddie got there,
like,
saw
Eddie...
Buck, and was like, okay, I can give all my brain cells away. We're just sharing one now.
Yeah, like, Eddie in this episode, cool, calm, collected, knows what he's doing, like, good medic, deals with Lena. Eddie, the minute that he's with Buck, closed gate mystery.
Speaking of Buck.
Yes.
Speaking of...
Poor Eddie is still under the illusion that that Buck and Chris are off at the movies. He calls and leaves.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he leaves a message for. Yeah.
Says, tell Chris I'll be a little late picking him up. That's great, Eddie. You got to find him first. Where are you going to pick him up from?
Hope you guys are having fun.
Hope you guys are having fun.
Good thing you're missing it. Oh,
they're not having fun.
They're not having fun at all.
Who knows? Maybe Chris might be having a ball wherever he is, but no, Buck is not having fun.
Now Buck is on his feet. Like, obviously the water went out enough that it's actually shallow enough for them to walk on the road surface. Yep. And there's a bunch of other people hanging around. I don't know why they're still there and not... Maybe they're all looking for someone as well, but he keeps asking people if anyone's seen Chris.
Finally, someone has seen him. He was with a group headed to Cupcakery.
Yeah, which is like 6 or 7 blocks away. It's like, wow.
Yeah, I love that Buck's just like, what is that? And I was like, same. But yeah, apparently it's just a cupcake bakery.
Sounds good.
You wish we had one here.
Yeah. I could go cupcake right now. Yeah, that's only a short scene, but he heads off that way. And we go...
Oh, is this where they lift up the sign?
Yeah. I got confused. This is where they lifted the sign to find the girl.
Yeah, so they lift up a sign because they're like, there's a kid under here. So Buck immediately lifts it up and it's just
because I think he sees like the legs with a pair of Converse sticking out, which is what Chris was wearing. So he assumes that it's Chris's legs. But it's not Chris's leg, it's a young girl. So he heads towards the Cupcakery.
And this is also where Buck cuts his arm.
Is this where he cuts it, or is it just we get the close-up of a laceration on his arm?
No, you can actually, like, they do actually make, like, a cut noise.
Oh, so he does cut his arm on the sign. I did not...
so he cuts his arm on the sign, And then they do like a close-up of the cut.
The director in this episode just loves doing like these long lingering shots of, I'm going to show you this, I'm going to focus on this for a few seconds, I need you to pay attention. You seeing this? You paying attention? You making note of this? Yes? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's the general audience, okay? Just
They're not as obsessive as us.
Yeah, they don't watch every scene in slow motion 12 times.
What are you talking about? That's normal viewing activity, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
We're going to dispatch. And this whole sequence is just, I really didn't care about any of these people. I was just like...
No.
What?
Let's speed run through this.
Yeah. Yeah, so Maddie takes a call.
Yeah, there's a couple different calls. There's some guy with a fish hook in his eye at some point.
Oh, yeah.
But then a woman calls because her daughter's missing. And she's in Wisconsin, but her daughter is at a place near the beach and was texting saying that she was fine, but then her text became gibberish and now she can't reach it. So they mention like where it is and they're just like, okay, cool, but like we don't have like any resources to go check.
Apparently Linda had also got a call from the same location, which is the Ocean Plaza apartment complex, along the same lines. Somebody was having trouble reaching their partner, and Maddie does a quick Google. Like, she literally thinks she said she checks social media, and nobody has checked in and marked themselves as safe, so she wants to send resources to check out the apartment complex. And Sue was like, you realize how thinly we're stretched. You want to go and send help to the only building where people are not asking for help. But then we find out why we got introduced to Charlie in episode 2, because Charlie has a drone. And
Charlie and her drone are back.
She calls in to 911 because she wants to know if anybody knows about the frogman that she found hanging out on the top of a palm tree. She's been using her drone to search for Reggie.
This is the most incomprehensible phone call. She's like, do you know the frogman? And Maddie's like, the who? The what now?
Yeah, Linda's like, I don't know if I'm getting punked. And so when Maddie jumps on the call and Linda and Charlie's like, the frogman, Linda's sort of pointing at the screen going, see, I told you.
Maddie picks up like, Ashton Kutcher? Is this you?
Yeah. Yeah, this is the weirdest thing because she like Maddie says, like, she says he's in a tree, you can't see him from the street. And Maddie's like, how can you see him? And she says, with my drone. And she's like, if you want, I can send you a link to a live feed. And Maddie's like, okay. And she goes, okay, I can see it. It's like
where did she send the link to?
Where did she send the link?
And like,
she's like, hang on, let me friend you on Discord, and I'll just
she just sent it so quickly, like no
DM you
details
the
were shared.
URL.
can you text 911? Like maybe she...
No, you can't text 911.
Sure, you actually might be able to.
But you can in the US, I'm pretty sure. I think they have a texting.
Yeah, like it doesn't work like this, but it's for like people who like have who are hard of hearing.
Yeah.
But
or like if you're in an I remember there being like something where if you're in an emergency situation where you can't talk, there was a number to text.
But I'm pretty sure you can't text like
But no, it's not just like sending a link and Maddie just pulling it up. Like she doesn't just have the access to like 911 like
the number of firewalls they would have to go through.
They DM'd it on Twitter, and Maddie for some reason has the Twitter the Twitter messages open, and it's like, yes, sick.
It's ridiculous.
Anyway, they magically get the link through the cloud.
Yeah, and she can see it. And so now she's like roping Charlie into her purposes. She's like, how far can this drone fly? I am going to use it for my own benefit now.
Yes. You have been commandeered.
Maddie also makes a comment about how, like, she knows the kid's name's Charlotte because they've got really good caller ID. And that's where Charlie's just like, oh, you're like big brother's big sister. But also, Charlie's name is Charlotte Rain, which is an interesting choice. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so Maddie commandeers a drone.
And apparently it is strong enough to be able to fly from Charlotte's apartment to the Ocean Plaza and head up to, I think they get about to the 10th floor, where...
I mean, our drone goes pretty far.
And they can see that there are a group of people just passed out in one of the apartments on the 10th floor. It looks like the aftermath of a party.
Did we map the distance between Rose and Third and the Ocean City Plaza?
No, because the geography in this version of LA doesn't make sense. I mean, this is the same show that had them take 6 hours to drive 2 hours, so I'm not trusting anything when it comes to distances in this show.
Just
Time
like
and distance
drone,
make no sense.
That drone could have a really good reach.
Yep.
It also got to, what's it called? Big Bear or whatever.
Oh my god, that's a long way for a drone to fly.
To get to Big Bear.
Over the mountains and far away.
It took Doug 3 days, but it took the drone 5 minutes. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now Maddie has her proof that there is something going on at the Ocean Plaza apartment and she can now send help.
And then we get a bit of a time jump because now it's nighttime.
Yes.
Athena is on shift.
And she is raring to arrest people.
Yeah. She's
She's
been
got
put in charge.
Oh God, who put her in charge?
She's very good at it. She tells everyone what their assignments are.
Which is to arrest anybody that's looting. She does not like looters.
Yep.
Or people charging too much for bottles of water.
Yes. She says, like, if you see anything that looks more than a misdemeanor, call for backup. We are not looking the other way on this. Arrests will be made. They are going to hit their quota tonight, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
So she sends them on their way, and there is one officer is talking to a group of people, and Athena heads over to see what's going on. And the officer, Suze, says that these people are just trying to find their people. And Athena's like, I need you to skedaddle. Go to a shelter. And the guy...
Fuck off, you dirty loiterers.
Yeah, the guy's like, you're not going to help me? She's like, we are doing everything we can to help, but the people at the shelter will be able to help you more. They'll be able to take your name and connect you with your wife or whoever is missing. He seems, rather agitated, but there is another woman who I initially assumed was his wife, but then he says that he's actually looking for his wife, so she's just a random tagger on. And she has got pantyhose dummy in a red hoodie strapped to her chest. And the camera lingers on
in her
her
arms, but it really doesn't look like she's carrying anybody.
The worst thing is, I'm pretty sure every time I've watched this episode, I've missed this scene because I'm watching it now and, I have no recollection of this scene.
No.
I'm pretty sure every time Athena does cop things, I just tune out.
I know.
That's real.
And the camera lingers on her. It's like you're watching, this is important. But Ellen, I think you mentioned in the group chat that you completely missed the significance of that shot. That was meant to be Chris. I know when I watched it for the first time, I had no idea that was meant to be Chris.
No. But I did notice the second time when she runs into Bobby and whoever else she sees, they do a lingering shot on her, and I was like, why are they showing this lady again?
Yeah.
And then it didn't even twig until later that it was Chris in her arms. It was like...
Because one, it doesn't look human because it's completely the wrong size and shape and weight.
It's not even moving.
Number two, we've had Buck telling us all episode it's Chris has got a yellow shirt and brown hair, and we can't see this kid's shirt or hair, so we have no idea.
But also, Chris was just at Athena's house.
He knows Athena.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
So I'm the only thing I can think is that he is absolutely exhausted and she is carrying him like that because he is asleep. And he does not hear Athena. Because, if he was awake and conscious, he would have heard Athena and just gone, wait, Athena, it's me, Chris. Have you seen Buck? Have you seen my dad? But obviously that doesn't work for the storyline that they're telling. So they've just, knocked him out for the entire episode. So they can have the big reunion at the end.
Night.
And so she heads off to go and arrest some people. And we go back to Buck, who's still wandering around looking for Chris. He does see a young child and he runs over and says, Chris. But it turns out this kid is not Chris, and the mum's like, "What are you doing, you strange man?"
It looks nothing like Chris. I'm pretty sure at this point Buck's forgotten who Chris is.
He does look a lot younger than Chris.
But like I said, like they made the big thing about Chris having a yellow shirt on. This kid had a blue and green shirt on.
Yeah, like it has stripes. That's it.
Yeah.
But
He's just so frantic to
He
find
probably
Chris.
just saw a kid and went, "Oh my god."
Yes. He at this point he is willing to
I'll just steal any child.
He's just going to steal any kid and hand it over to Eddie. Like, look, I found Chris.
Oh.
One way or another, Eddie is getting back a child.
I can't come back empty-handed.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, it just reminds me of the scene in Friends where Monica and Chandler are trying for a baby and they leave Rachel's kid, like, unattended in the other room. So Joey comes in and takes her. And Monica, like, freaks out because the baby's missing. And she's like, you better hope that we're pregnant because one way or another Rachel's getting back a baby. Anyway, yeah, so Buck tries to steal a child. The mother steers the child away from Buck, looking very concerned.
Yes, as you would when a strange man tries to snatch your child from
Tries
you.
to steal your child.
Fair, Buck does buck away. Buck backs Buck away when he realizes
He bucks away.
He bucks away when he realizes it's not Chris. He's like holding his hands up, going, "Okay,
Sorry, my
sorry.
bad.
sorry."
And then we get a random extra go, you okay? You're bleeding. And then we go down to that cut that Buck got on the sign earlier that they lingered on nicely. And his whole arm from there down is just covered in blood.
See, Buck, and this is why you weren't allowed to go back to work when you're on blood thinners, because shit like this happens.
Yeah.
So Bex had questions. So many questions.
I had from, like, the very first moment the tsunami hit and Buck is covered in lacerations that do not seem to be bleeding. It's only this one that they seem to remember that, oh, the dude's on blood thinners. Maybe his wounds should be bleeding excessively.
Yeah, so my mum is actually on blood thinners, so I sat her down and forced her to watch these 3 episodes.
Thanks, Mum.
I think she'll
Thank you,
probably
Linda.
be like on the she'll probably be on the podcast like later talking about it in more detail. But basically, she said that yes, no, this is actually all like medically accurate. A lot of this show is not, but this part
Okay,
is.
that's good to know.
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah, so she was actually really impressed. So she said that the ones on his face are too shallow, like they're more like grazes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if she just grazes herself, it doesn't really do anything. It just sort of sits in the wound and that allows it to like clot.
Yep.
But when it's deep like the one on his arm that he did with the sign, they don't stop, basically.
Okay.
So
Cool, yeah.
like, and it looks exactly like that. Like it looks like just like water basically running down your arm or whatever. So she cut herself on a cat food tin back when we were feeding the cat tins. We've now moved to pouches for this reason. Cut herself on a cat food tin. She like put pressure on it because she's an ex-nurse, so she knows what to do. Because it just would not stop bleeding. So she put pressure on it. The next morning she woke up and it was still just bleeding everywhere.
Oh,
And ended up having to get it stitched. And it was just like a little cut on her thumb that she's done 1,000,000 times before and it would not stop bleeding.
Wow.
Okay, so that's good to know.
Thanks.
But she says that like little scratches and stuff, not an issue at all.
Yeah.
So yes, the ones on his face, like, because when after the tsunami hit, I'm just like, wouldn't he be bleeding more? And like, didn't even mention the thing. And Mum's just like, nah. I'm like, even on the blood thinners, she's like, nah. And then when he cut his arm on the sign and it lingered on it, Mum's like, oh, that's gonna bleed.
Okay.
All right. That makes sense.
And she said if he was bleeding and like even if it stopped and then he went back into the water, it'd open it up again.
Yeah. Which I guess is why also when they go from episode 2 to episode 3, because Buck's been back in the water searching for Chris, the cuts on his face are a lot redder and angrier. He's been back in the water.
So they actually do really well on this part.
Yay.
I am very impressed. Congratulations, 911. You actually got something medically correct for once.
We're very proud of you.
Props to the medical accuracies.
All right, we go back to the Ocean Plaza.
Do we have to? Yes, we have to, because we get new members of the 118. Yes.
Okay, tell us all about it.
No, well, John is back. John is apparently stuck around. he must be
Oh,
replacing...
he didn't die in the
No,
in the
he didn't die
explosion.
in the explosion. John survived. I think he must be a paramedic, though, because he seems to be hanging with Chim a lot in this episode. So they're approaching the Ocean Plaza, and Chim makes one of his pop culture references and points out the Sword of Damocles, which in this instance is a street lamp that is leaning precariously and sparking, which, you know, could be quite dangerous. Bobby just sends John to put some caution tape around it so that nobody stands under it and gets nailed by it. So, yay for John.
Safe. It's very safety.
Lucky John.
And then Geary gets sent off with Hen to check building maintenance because there is apparently a carbon monoxide leak in the building.
Oh, yeah, so they've all got to get their little gas masks on.
Yes.
Hopefully they're all sealed up properly this time.
I think their gas masks are fine. It's just the Big Bird suits that aren't properly sealed.
Yeah, it's the hazmats that are terrible.
Okay.
But I do enjoy that everybody on the carbon monoxide poisoning is just absolutely batshit insane.
Yes.
So they wander through the building and they come across one guy who sort of jumps out at them. And he says to them, "Need to very much nomenclature." And then throws up.
Did he just say nomenclature? Thanks, Jim. Jim asking the real questions here.
Yep. They find a bunch of other people who are passed out on the ground. And,
Yeah, they find the group of people that Maddie saw in the drone.
Yeah, the drone found. And Bobby's like, we've got to get some fresh air in here. So he just bashes in the window.
I'm assuming that whoever built the Ocean Plaza apartment didn't put like that special reinforced glass because, you know, in some high-rise buildings you literally can't break the window because it's a safety hazard.
Yeah.
Ah.
Or maybe that's you can't open the windows but you can smash them.
I'm starting to think that Bobby, like, moonlights as an insurance dealer, though.
He has a hard-on for building safety.
He's very free with smashing things.
So they get everybody out of the building and down into the street. We meet the young woman whose mother called 911 looking for her. And this is Jonanna. She's so high on carbon monoxide she can't even say her own name properly.
I love the Joanna? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
She's stumbling around, not really following Hen's instructions, and we find out through her that there's something going on with the water, because the water is spicy. It stings when she steps in a puddle. But it's not the same spicy water that Athena was dealing with. This is petroleum-infused water, because there is a petrol tanker up the road that has... I spent so long trying to think of the word that applies to trucks, because all I could think of was capsized. I'm like, no, that's for boats. I don't know what the vehicle equivalent is, but the petrol tanker has capsized and it is leaking petrol across the ground and it's getting into the water.
I mean, it's in water, so theoretically...
But doesn't capsize simply...
Capsized?
Doesn't that
It's
apply
flooded?
just to... I don't know.
Upturned?
It's fine, it's capsized.
Yeah.
Let's just
Okay,
roll.
okay.
I
Let's
like
do
it. Like, you definitely probably smell all the gasoline, but it's
I
fine.
think the correct term is overturned.
Yay! Yes! That's the word I was looking
Thank
for.
God. This is why we have guests on, because we don't know what we're doing anymore.
So yes, Hen looks from petrol tanker to spicy water to sparking lamp, and then hurries over to Bobby and says, "We need to get everybody out of here." And Bobby's like, "Yeah, I'm trying." She's like, "No.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Jesus
We have
Christ.
to get everybody out of here because we are standing on top of a bomb." Dun dun dun.
And then we have a
we're gonna
commercial.
go to commercial.
Dun dun dun.
And then we get an Athena scene, which I don't care about because it's stupid as fuck.
I thought these guys... Okay, so these guys
Oh,
are...
they are hilarious.
losers.
I love
They-
them.
Yeah, they're great.
They have
Yeah.
the ghost facer energy.
Yes.
Yeah, literally.
Yes.
Tito and Ray, I think you are hilarious. I loved you. I just thought that this particular plotline was so ridiculous, and it got more ridiculous the more I thought about it.
Well, there was
'Cause
just
there's
no point
no
to
reason.
it, really. The only point to it was that they showed those cute cats. That was it.
Yep.
Oh, the cats are adorable.
No, that's about it.
Yes, so Athena is all excited because she thinks she gets to bust a couple of looters. When in reality, Ray and Tito are, yes, looting people's houses for their pets. They are
They're
part of
rescuing.
they're part of the West LA Pet Rescue, and their intention is to reunite pets and owners who have been separated by natural disasters. But the thing is, they're breaking into people's houses. So the pets are secure. The owners can come home and find their pets.
No, it's not breaking in because, like, they left their windows and back doors
But the
unlocked.
thing is, the pet is inside the house. Like, if they were down sort of on the pier and they were picking up animals that were on the street, if they were searching through the houses that had flooded and taking those animals, 100% I could get behind you. But these guys are stealing people's animals out of their houses. Animals that, like, the street does not look that bad. I know down the other end where Cooper is looks pretty bad, but where they are, it does not look like it has been that affected by the flood. So these animals are fine.
Yeah, like, their owners will probably get back to them in, like, a day.
Or later that night and go like, where the fuck is my dog?
Yeah.
And did they leave notes?
Card?
Yes!
Yeah, do they assuming they just then have to pay the people to return their animal.
It's like stolen by
They're kidnapping them for
stolen
ransom.
by the Raiders of the Lost Barks. Yeah.
The Raiders of the Lost Barks cracks me up every time.
Yes, that was funny. Especially when the guy is like, no, we are not. That is not what we're called.
Ray, we talked about this.
It's like, come on, it's a good name. Yeah, I'm not walking around with that on a shirt.
I think they should.
That was the Ghostface's part. I was like, yes.
Yeah, so Ray and Tito are hilarious. That storyline is stupid.
It reminded me actually of when we had the big floods in Brisbane in, I would say 2011. It was a long time ago now. But we had this mud army thing, which was like a bunch of volunteers, and they did great work in actually cleaning out a lot of the mud that was all over some of the suburbs. But they also went into people's houses and took a load of stuff out of there and dumped it on the street to be taken away as rubbish, which is a very excellent and worthwhile thing to do. But they didn't ask people what they wanted removed, and there was loads of people who were just taking stuff out of the houses that didn't need to be removed, that wasn't wet, that wasn't like damaged.
Yeah.
So it's like that thing where if you are going to help somebody, make sure they actually want help.
Yes.
Or require it before you just go ahead and anyway.
I'm just going to tangent for a moment because
tangents,
we haven't for a while. We haven't for a while, and Ellen just needs things to cut out because she gets bored otherwise. I just opened up Twitter, and the discourse of the hour on 911 Twitter is that someone did a poll whether Buck was an introvert or an extrovert, and people are like, Buck's not an introvert, he's just a loser. I'm just laughing so hard because poor Buck.
Wow.
They're like, this is the man who, like, starts crying if he hasn't had human interaction for 10 minutes. He just doesn't have any friends. Just like, that's so mean.
I really don't like the introvert extrovert label because it kind of doesn't count if you're neurospicy.
Yeah.
Because he acts like an extrovert, but that's the ADHD and the RSD kicking in.
Yep.
Exactly.
100%.
That's it.
I'm like, I hardcore relate to Buck, and
Oh, yeah, but I am Buck. Like,
the ADHD,
like, he presents as an extrovert, but that's his mask.
Yep.
He is...
Yep.
Yeah.
He goes home at the end of the day and he's like, oh my god, I'm so tired.
Yes.
I just want to curl up under my doona.
Yep.
Which Eddie will then rip off me for no reason.
And force me to babysit his child.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, Eddie.
Like, man, I'm just trying to decompress for the day. Why do I have a child in my house? Oh, my baby Buck.
You're going to make me cut all that out? It's tough. Come on.
There are so many tweets that are just like, he's not an introvert, he's just a loser.
No.
Just like, oh my god, same.
Alright, back to the episode.
Anyway.
Yes.
So literally the only point of that scene with Ray and Tito was getting Athena into this suburb so that she could hear Cooper calling for help.
Yeah, and to see some cute cats.
Yeah, and because as she's walking back to her car, she hears this clanging noise, like something hitting metal repeatedly. So she grabs her torch and goes to investigate. So then we're going to cut back to the VA hospital where the siblings are squabbling.
Yeah, so this is the decommissioned hospital that Maddie sorted out last episode, right?
Yes.
So it's not a real hospital. I mean, it is a real hospital, but
it's a gutted hospital. Yeah,
it's
so
like
there's like
temporary kind of setup.
Yes, it was a hospital. It just wasn't operating as one. So now they've like recommissioned it and set up tents and turned it into a field hospital. So Eddie has dragged Lena's ass down to Sawtell. She finds out that they have a list and just snatches the clipboard out of the nurse's hand so she can start rifling through the pages looking for her captain. And Eddie snatches it back out of her hand to give it back to the nurse while scolding her. And I'm looking at this, and this is like the one scene I've gone, there is no way that they can have these two romantically involved, because that is sibling energy right there. But the point is that he got Lena down there, but Cooper is not on, her captain is not on any of the lists. So he takes Lena inside, and she has got the best pouty face. She looks like she's about to start crying when she finds out that they're down there and Cooper's not there.
Yeah.
So he takes her inside, like he takes her to reception. I don't know why he takes her to reception. There's no receptionist there. And they're hanging out at the desk, and Eddie's attention is drawn to this boy who is sitting on one of the cot beds while his mother is getting patched up, and he's coughing.
He's like, gee, I'm glad that Christopher's so far away from this.
Well, yeah, Lena sort of notices what's caught his attention, and she's like, does he remind you of your son? And Eddie's sort of distractedly watching him, and you can see that his brain is like, I know something. I know something about this. I don't know what it is I know about this, but I know something about this. And he keeps watching.
Like, my spider senses are tingling.
Yeah. Lena's trying to make small talk about Chris and about Shannon. The kid keeps coughing, and then the penny drops.
Eddie's like, who's Shannon? Oh, fuck, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah.
He's not even paying attention to Lena at this point, and then races across and grabs the kid. And I forgot this scene. And I was watching it and writing the notes, and then just started like gagging, because Eddie says that the kid is drowning. There is something lodged in his throat. There's trapped water in his lungs, and like he gets the kid on the ground and digs his fingers. No.
Yeah. He pulls out a leaf, and a load of water comes out of there.
Yeah, the leaf's a weird thing, but yeah, like dry drowning is actually a thing, and it's really deadly because it can happen like ages after the first event. It can also cause aspiration pneumonia, which is also super deadly. But yeah, I was just impressed that they actually finally treated a drowning victim properly, because usually they just like start doing CPR and do it wrong. The way to treat people who have water in their lungs is to immediately put them in recovery position and try and get the water out before doing anything else, which they actually do in this episode, so I was very impressed.
I wonder if they got a new medical consult for season 3.
Yeah. Like, just for the first 3 episodes.
Well,
of
maybe
season 3,
like we've only seen the first 3 episodes of season 3. Maybe as we continue on, the response that the 118 have to medical calls is going to get better compared to what it has been.
Who knows? Maybe.
Maybe.
But so far they're doing well.
I was going to say that the medical accuracies in this episode are a little bit better than other episodes.
Yeah. Very impressed.
The medics are also very impressed with Eddie. And basically beg him to stick around and help them because they are very short on hands in the hospital. So Eddie volunteers his time and sort of looks at Lena and says, it looks like you're not going to get rid of me anytime soon, and she doesn't seem at all unhappy about that.
I think this was one of the scenes where they're really trying to
they were trying.
Them up.
It just did not work.
No, because like the writing is very flirtatious.
Yeah, I think my original notes after Eddie's like, looks like you're not getting rid of me anytime soon. Pretty sure I was like, Eddie, stop flirting, your son's missing.
No.
He doesn't.
But then
know
like
that.
on secondary watch, I'm just like, yeah, nah, like, no.
No, that's the big brother going, you're not getting rid of me.
Yeah,
But
genuinely.
But Lena is just so lost because she doesn't have a beloved captain that she's just going to cling to anybody that's going to like look after her and take care of her. And she's like, excellent. You are my person for right now. I do not want you anywhere else. Speaking of her captain, Athena found him.
I didn't recognise him at all until, because we saw him at the beginning of the previous episode, right? Because he was there.
They did one of those lingering shots on him. I mean, to be fair,
but I
it's
didn't
dark.
recognise him.
He's half under a car.
He's missing an arm almost.
Until he introduced himself, I didn't realise who he was.
But I think there's also been like so much has happened between those shots.
Oh yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah.
Like it's understandable that you kind of go, are we meant to know this guy?
Yeah. So Athena tries to radio for help, and the dispatch says that it's going to be like 30 to 35 minutes because they're a bit stretched.
Busy.
And so Cooper knows that that's not going to be enough time. It's going to be too long. So he's like, you're just going to have to cut it off. And Athena's like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? I am not cutting off your arm. And he's like, yes, you are. Go find some things.
But first, we have to go back to the Ocean Plaza. Where the sword of Damocles finally falls. The street lamp tips over, hits the ground. The glass shatters. The sparks land in the water or land on the ground and ignite the petrol, which then starts slowly snaking its way through the debris across the ground towards the apartment building.
Just in the most slowest fashion.
It looks really effective when they do the overhead shots. This little like trail of fire just weaving its way.
It was cool, yeah.
I don't know how realistic that is, but
it would have lit up a lot faster.
I think so, especially with all of the debris on the ground that would also have been petrol soaked and just would have lit up. But we'll go with this. It looks cool and it gives them more time to get everybody out of there.
It's kind of like one of those like in like old timey movies where they have like the long line of gunpowder to the main
yes
yeah.
So Chimney and John have been sent on a bus hunt to try and get the people out of there because they can't wait for rescue ambulances, and they come through. Chimney and John pull up in postal vans. And Chim jumps out and very proud. Chim jumps out very proudly, says, "Neither rain nor snow nor heat nor tsunami stays these couriers from their appointed rounds." And you can so tell he's been practicing that.
Yeah, like he had that like on the go the whole drive over.
And Hen is completely unimpressed.
Even beforehand, Bobby made me laugh with he got on the radio and he's like, "Chimney, we need transpo right now." And I'm like, "What do you say if you're going to say transpo, you may as well just say transport. Like, come on.
Yeah. It's the same number of syllables, dude.
Anyway.
But then Chimney comes back with copy Skip. Like, why are you calling your captain Skip all of a sudden?
Skip, yeah.
Because they're in the water and it's the...
Skipper.
The captain is the skipper.
Yeah. It makes sense.
So the captain of a boat is skipper, and so he's being boaty. I liked it.
Does he call him Skip any other time?
Nope.
No, it's just because he's there in the water.
Okay.
It's cute. Leave Chimney alone.
He's done nothing wrong. He doesn't deserve this.
I will leave him alone. So he and John have come through. They've got the postal vans. They start loading everybody into the vans. Geary and Forrest have joined the 118 for this evening, and they are helping to load everybody up. We also have Cabell from the back of his turnout, and either Geary or Forrest or Cabell is background firefighter from Twitter, because we get a shot of him.
Bex very frantically messaged us today as she was finishing the notes, and she's like, "I found background firefighter."
So for those of you who don't know, I think Alice, if you want to explain, because you're the one that
we'll have to link
you're the one that
yeah.
showed it to me.
So background firefighter is like, if you've listened to this podcast, you know that Bex is obsessed with like finding the rest of the 118. Like, we're making a list of...
There is literally a list of everybody who is stationed at Firehouse 118.
Yeah. And then there was a Twitter account made, like, just this month. Like, it's very recent. And the Twitter account is literally just background firefighter. And it's just, like, blurry photos zoomed in of this guy in the background who has, like, a mustache and a generic, like, firefighter haircut. They've only got 22 followers, so they're very new.
Oh.
But I found it and sent it to Bex, and, like, we will link the background firefighter account.
And then I was so excited because he shows up at the Ocean Plaza apartments and he's helping people.
So, like, he's been there since at least season 3. Like, that's
So
amazing.
he's-
That's
So
great
funny.
spotting. Well done.
So all of our brand new members of the 118 are helping the Dream Team load all of the people from the plaza into the makeshift postal van ambulances. So while they're doing that, we cut back to Athena, who is now looting houses.
Yeah, Athena's supposed to be arresting
No.
them, but instead just
She's looting.
starts looting them.
She's got heaps of stuff with her. She's got like a bottle of vodka or something.
Yep.
And then she's wrapped up this kitchen towel that's got a bunch of knives and like random
Like just
stuff.
like gardening shears as well.
I don't know. It just
And
This
Cooper
all
sort of
seems
like
so
cranes his
horrible.
neck to look at what she's got and then gives her like, "Woman, are you crazy?" look, and she just goes, "You didn't tell me what you wanted." She said, "It's bad enough that I was looting houses. I wasn't about to loot a house and then come back and find out that was the wrong thing." So she just kind of took one of everything.
Fair.
And so he tells her to use the shears because the bone's already broken, and so she just does.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
So they use the
And not before they have a bit of a moment like where she's like, "That's my husband's domain" or whatever, and they have like I know who you Bobby is. And he introduces himself as Ronnie Cooper. Yeah.
Yes, this is when we officially find out that this is Cooper.
I don't even know where this is. Like, it feels like just a suburbia. Like,
It does. Which is why I
it
was
can't
saying
be that close to the beach.
and saying that it's insane that Buck and Chris ended up so close to each other while Lena ended up on the Ferris wheel and Ronnie ended up here.
It
Yeah.
genuinely makes
Well, Lena
no
didn't
sense.
end up, like, she wasn't thrown onto the Ferris wheel, because
No,
she said she swam
but she was
there.
at least
But she was pretty close, like, she was close
she
enough.
was
to
on
be
the
able to
swim.
pier and she sort of stayed within the pier area, whereas you assume that Cooper
Yeah.
was also on the pier and yet he's ended up 3 suburbs over. So I don't understand.
He
Let's do
was,
stuff.
like, moving around and then the surge going back out.
I
trapped
don't
him?
know. I'm not going to think about it too hard because otherwise I'm
Who
going
knows?
to
Yeah,
drive myself
it's fine.
insane because it does not make sense.
He teleported.
Yes, it was the magic tsunami that should not have happened.
It was the magic
has
teleport,
teleported
yeah.
him out here and trapped him under a car, and now he is
Big wave, Bex. Big
yeah,
wave.
So now he is
Big wave.
slugging down the vodka as fast as he can. He is biting down on Athena's leather-bound notebook while she uses garden shears to cut his arm off.
Doesn't
Yeah.
alcohol make your blood thinner
Yes.
as well? Like, isn't it like the
Yeah.
worst
Yeah.
idea? Okay. I
Yeah.
thought that I was like a little bit crazy when I was watching that. I was like, is that
It's
not
just
like
a
the
thing
worst
that you
idea?
do on TV when you are.
Yeah.
That's
I
so
mean,
true.
I guess in this
Surgery.
situation, he's already put a tourniquet on his arm. So he's already, like, cut off the blood, cut off the circulation to that area anyway. So blood loss is going to be
I guess.
not
At least he'll feel
minimal,
a bit
but
better,
it's going to be lessened, and it's going to hopefully knock him out and numb the pain a little bit.
Not gonna lie, I didn't watch
No,
this scene.
because
Oh, no.
Foley went nuts with the
It's-
squelching and the cutting noises.
Oh, it's
So
so
bad.
bad. Like, it was on, but
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, oh no, I
The closed
better...
captions say something like flesh squelching or
Yes.
something. I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
I was watching it and my mum was sitting in the room and she was just like, oh god.
Yeah.
I love that we're just subjecting our poor mothers to this.
She wasn't even actually like watching it with me. She was like doing something else and then
She just happened to look up at that scene.
she heard the noises and she was like, oh my god, what's happening?
Yeah.
See, Mum and I both watch TV with subtitles. Dad can't stand it. Like, he's one of the people that it distracts
Yeah.
him.
So's my
Right.
dad.
And so he had it on, and like he just kept reading out the weird sound effects that they were capturing. But yeah, anyway, Cooper starts screaming. It's awful.
Yeah.
Mm.
He's not enjoying it.
I can't imagine why.
I think it should
Back
be
to
a
the
great
Ocean
time.
Plaza. The flames are coming. They need to get out of there. They jump in the trucks, they leave. That's it. Oh, and not before they almost run into a horde of zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like a bunch of survivors who are walking towards them.
But
And
they're
it's like, don't come this
shuffling
way.
so slowly, and they're all clumped
They're
together in
shuffling
a
so
group.
slowly. Yeah. It literally looks like a horde of zombies.
Yeah, I said the same thing when I watched it. I'm like, what are these zombies doing?
And then Chim, like, I love
His
Chim
Jaws
so much.
line.
He just goes, "We're gonna need a bigger mail truck." Like, they're not even in water anymore, and he just keeps pulling out, like, calling Bobby Skipper, or Skip, pulling out the Jaws lines. Like, the water's gone, Chimney. It's
The other
gone.
thing in the scene is Bobby says, "Yeah, we got kissed a bit by the like." They weren't close
They were nowhere
to
near
the.
it.
No, like it didn't even go near the mail trucks.
He probably got a little bit hot. That was the
Yeah.
extent of it.
Yeah.
Dramatic Bobby Nash drama bitch 101.
Oh, so the horde of zombies as well. Very important to note.
Has
Who's front and center of the horde of
The woman
zombies?
with the
Yeah, she's
pantyhose
right in
dummy?
the front.
Yes.
The woman with the pantyhose dummy. With, red hoodie
a good friend.
child blob. Yeah.
Back in the hospital, Eddie is patching some guy up.
This is when it all starts getting real.
Yeah.
He and Lena have a little bit of baseball related banter, which sent me down the rabbit hole of the Ryan Guzman wiki to discover that
Uh-oh.
basically Ryan Guzman is Eddie Diaz and Eddie Diaz is Ryan Guzman.
Yeah.
Because the implication here is that Eddie was a baseball pitcher, and funnily enough, Ryan was also a baseball pitcher until he blew his shoulder out.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I also discovered that Ryan's father is Ramon, which is the same
Yes.
name as Eddie's father.
It's like the more you look into Eddie and Ryan's similarities, you're like, oh, this is just a self-insert.
I'm honestly I'm waiting for Eddie to be like, "Oh yeah, this is like that summer that I like, was a dancer." And them all to just be like, "You what?"
It's
You
the
what?
only thing that's missing, right? They've had the baseball, they've got the family, they've got the ancestry, they've got other things that have come
They've
up.
had the fighting.
Um,
Oh, sorry,
and
shit.
I'm just waiting for them to bring in the dancing.
Yeah. It's just the dancing. I mean, yeah.
I've seen some.
Oh, you've seen some of
It's all
that?
right.
Okay.
I have seen some of it.
Alice is just like, forget about it. I didn't say anything.
So we won't go into it later on. But we get more of the sibling energy between Eddie and Lena because Lena's all patched up and she's ready to go back out and keep looking for her captain. And Eddie is like trying to stop her and telling her, "You're like, man, you're stubborn." And Lena's like, "Well, you can try and stop me if you want to know exactly what 2 broken ribs feels like." She's like this little feral cat, just spitting and hissing, but still desperate for love.
Yeah.
But yeah, now sort of shit's about to get real because over Lena's shoulder he notices Athena and races over and is horrified because she is covered in blood. But as she says, it's not my blood, it's his. And Lena, who has followed Eddie out because she can't let him out of his sights, sees the man on the gurney that they're wheeling into the hospital and discovers that it's her captain. So she at least finds what she's been searching for.
Yeah, and she stays with him.
Well, most of
Yeah.
what she's been searching for.
The episode is called The Searchers. Everybody's searching for something.
I just meant because he's missing an arm.
She does, as she leaves with Cooper, she turns around and gives, she says thank you to Eddie.
Yeah, I think that's supposed to be like the long, lingering, oh, I'm going with my captain, but I wish I could stay with you, but she doesn't pull it off. It's just
No.
like sad puppy
Yeah, it's
eyes.
basically, bye,
It's
bro.
like, bye.
Thanks, bro. You're welcome, bro.
She's like, thank you so much.
But yeah, everyone is now converging on the field hospital. So we've got Eddie has been there, Athena has arrived, Buck now arrives at the field hospital.
Buck looks like one of the zombies that was shuffling just before.
Does.
Yeah.
He's
Looks
not doing good.
So exhausted.
Yeah, he's not doing good at all.
I don't honestly know how he's still standing at this point, like, other than the adrenaline, obviously, but,
Oh, it's
like,
pure adrenaline.
yeah.
Yep.
He looks dead on his legs.
So he flags down another nurse with a clipboard. Not the same nurse that Lena assaulted earlier.
She went home on stress leave.
I can't take this anymore.
Yeah.
And he's looking for Chris. She's checking her list, and again, how do they all have the same list? Is like there's somebody that's just frantically printing out every 5 minutes. It's like that scene in Devil Wears Prada where Emily and Anne Hathaway's character are like fighting for who's got the most updated phone list for Miranda, depending on who's called. And, like, they both hang up the phone and print out the list and like slap it on top. Like, I imagine that somewhere in the hospital there's someone doing that with the lists for all of the nurses.
Hang on. Just sidebar very quickly. Ellen,
Oh,
please tell me you've watched Devil Wears Prada.
Yes, I've watched that.
Okay, good.
I'm not a complete dinosaur, it's okay.
Okay. So the nurse checks her list. She doesn't have a Christopher Diaz on that list, but she very heartlessly tells Buck that he might want to go check the black tent.
Yeah, go check them all.
Which is
the
morgue.
Yeah.
Can we also mention, like, Buck says, because the nurse asks how old, and Buck's like 8, maybe 9. So, like, earlier he was like, yeah, 8-year-old. Has he had a birthday since then?
No!
Like, Buck's like, I'm pretty sure his birthday was tomorrow. I don't know if it's midnight.
Oh, that's
It's
an
just-
awful thought. Chris gets back to school. So what did you do for your birthday, Chris? I got swept up in a tsunami and then I got lost by my caretaker.
I hung out with my Buck that day.
Until he lost me, and then I got hauled around like a pantyhose dummy for the rest of the night.
Also, my dad and his situationship made eyes at each other. It was really awkward. It just keeps happening, you guys.
I just can't escape it.
It's always in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris is
Starting to
also a
have
number
food
one shipper, I'm
aversions.
sure. He's in love with Buck first.
Oh,
It's just
no,
looked in a
no,
different
no, 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 no.
No, not in that way. In like a,
Because
this
I
is my
know that
second
those
dad,
fics
mate.
exist. I have unfortunately seen those fics.
No.
Yes.
Sorry?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No, I don't want to know about those.
Oh. Okay.
No, I totally mean in a.
Yes,
this is
I
definitely my
understand.
second father way.
I understand what you mean. Other people, not so much.
Yeah.
The zombie Buck slowly starts to stumble towards the morgue, and we cut back to 911 dispatch, where we find out that Charlie's friend Reggie has been found. He drowned.
Yeah,
Too
unfortunately
bad.
deceased.
And that's all we get of that, because then Maddie's phone rings. And Buck has stolen someone's phone to call Maddie, and props for him to have had memorized Maddie's phone number. Because I don't know that many people's phone numbers, but if I didn't have my phone, that I could call them.
I could literally only call my mum. That's it. Oh, and my brother, maybe.
Yeah, I know my mum's number. I don't know my dad's, even though he's had it for my entire life.
Same. I know some of the numbers.
I mean, worst case scenario, I guess Buck could have called 911 and just begged someone to put him through to his sister.
I mean, we've seen that happen before,
know,
Athena
right?
style, so...
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, he needs Maddie's help, because he's finally come to the conclusion that he can't find Christopher. He has tried everything that he can do, and now he needs help. So he reaches out to his big sister. And
Cute.
Maddie has the horrific realization that Buck was not safe somewhere in the city. He was there on the pier when the tsunami hit. And Buck is trying to get her to help him, and she's just, no, I need you to reassure me that you are okay. Are you hurt? Are you bleeding? I don't give a fuck about Christopher right now. Tell me about you.
So you're my child, so...
Yes.
I like...
Yeah.
But Bub's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's the absolute quintessential Buck response. Are you hurt? It doesn't matter. Because Christopher is gone.
One day, Buck, I hope you realise that it does matter.
And then he's sort of spinning on the spot while he's talking to Maddie, because he can't stand still. And as he turns, he looks at the front doors of the VA hospital, and Eddie is standing on the front steps. And Buck bolts and hides because
Buck
he
full-on
cannot see Eddie.
Yeah, and Maddie tells him, like, he says to Maddie, like, oh, Eddie's here. And Maddie's just like, you have to tell him. This is where she says, Evan. You have to tell him.
Does Eddie know what has happened? And Buck's silence is just so loud. And so she Evans him. Like, Evan, you have to tell him.
I think that was a really good use of his name, though, too. Like,
yeah,
it really made him kind of, like, listen.
Yes, if you want him to pay attention, you use Evan.
Yeah.
Because that's how he knows that you're serious.
Yeah, 100%.
Evan Emmanuel Buckley. Go and tell him.
That's a good middle name.
Yeah, I like the new middle name.
I was thinking about that emu. Have you seen that video? Anyway, don't worry. I'll send it to you.
No. The emu, is that the one that keeps trying to get on TikTok?
Yeah, that keeps trying to steal the phone.
Try to steal the phone? Yeah,
like,
yeah. I do know Emmanuel.
Don't you dare. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Good. I'm not making things up. So Maddie tells him to go and tell Eddie, and
yeah, and this is where we get the heartbreaking. How do you tell your best friend that you lost his son?
Oh, yeah. How do you tell? Like, that's such a hard situation to be in.
yeah.
And I do have to just sidebar. Like, Oliver acting his little heart out. He, like, is just devastated. He's doing such a good job. But I'm here just like...
You're so pretty.
Fuck, he's hot, covered in blood.
Just like, damn, stop being so distracting.
He's
literally
like, dirty.
He's just covered in blood at this point, and I'm
his
just like,
hair is all messy because obviously the product is not tsunami proof. And yeah, he's
like, it's got that little bit of curl in it because it's not being like.
And yes, he has never looked hotter.
Yeah, there's something about Buck being put through the ringer that just.
Poor Buck.
But back on a serious note, Buck is adamant.
Take it back.
Yeah, what happens in this scene? Sorry, I just... Like, yeah.
Buck is adamant that he cannot tell Eddie that he lost Chris, and Maddie is like, you are in no condition to be looking for Christopher. I am coming down there. And hangs up the phone, and Buck is like frantically talking into the dead air, going, no, Maddie. But she's already gone. But then we get the rest of the 118 arrive at the VA hospital because the postal vans pull up, and Bobby calls for help. So Eddie starts coming down to grab the people that they're unloading for the postal vans, and sees Buck.
This is where I was like, oh, here we go.
He's like, wait, Buck, what are you doing here? Takes in his appearance. Holy shit, are you okay? Takes in the fact that he's alone. Like, wait, where is Christopher? And then notices the glasses hanging around his neck.
Yeah, Buck's trying to explain what happened, but he can't. He can barely get it out. He's like about to burst into tears. I think.
He's trying to I tried. I swear to you, okay, I tried.
Yeah, we were at the beach,
and like Eddie just lost his wife.
Yeah, like this is like what, a month later or something he said.
It's in the first episode.
5 months?
Is it like
5
3
months?
months?
I think it was 5.
5
yeah.
months. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and Eddie just doesn't react to start with. He just stands there and staring at Buck, going, "What are you talking about?"
Like, it's like he's trying to process. Like, I don't believe.
It's
it.
too, it's
almost
too much.
see like the wheels turning, and
Yeah.
it's like
does not compute.
Well, he spent the whole day thinking he's okay.
Yeah.
And then you just see, like, his eyes widening, and he's just like, you just see the panic, but Eddie doesn't panic.
No,
he doesn't panic.
Of course he doesn't panic.
No.
But then, before anything can come of this, Eddie actually looks over, notices something over Buck's shoulder, and the woman carrying the pantyhose dummy is actually carrying Gavin this time.
Okay, but you're telling me that Chris, let's say that Chris was asleep when they ran into Athena. You're saying he slept through the entire postal van ride and did not notice that he was in the truck with Bobby or anyone else from the 118? And that nobody saw her get into the truck holding Chris?
Clearly he was in the truck with John, okay? He doesn't know John. John's not allowed at the table.
No, but John would have at least had, like, firefighter shit on. So surely Chris would have... Yeah, I just don't understand. But, so it is interesting that the size difference between the pantyhose dummy that was supposed to be Chris and then the actual size of Christopher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's struggling to hold him up because she's a small woman and he's like 8 years old, but he's a long, lanky 8-year-old. And Eddie recognizes him immediately, even though he's got the red hoodie on, which he wasn't wearing when Eddie dropped him off. And he just bolts across the car park to his son.
And Buck's kind of just staring.
He's just like, wait, he's here? He's okay?
And then, Eddie's like, thank you. And the woman's like, oh, you're Buck. And Eddie's like, no, I'm his father, Eddie. And, oh, he was looking for Buck.
It's so sad.
And it's just, like...
So as much as much as Buck has been looking for Chris has been looking for Buck this whole time too.
Chris has been looking for Ed. Like, and so Eddie looks over at Buck, and, like, Buck's, like, about to pass out at this stage. Like, he, like, is not doing great. And Bobby's just looking between.
Yeah, because as this stare-off is happening, Chim and John and Hen arrive, and Chim notices Buck and, like, sends John with their patient into the hospital and sort of stops at Buck. And again, it's the wait, Buck, you here? Wait, Buck, you look terrible. What happened to you? And Buck is just not answering. And so Bobby steps up and, like, hey, kid, are you okay? And Buck is still not looking at Bobby, not responding. So Bobby's sort of looking backwards and forwards at what Buck is looking at and sort of turns to see that it's Eddie staring back at Buck. And, he looks at him and she looks at me, and he looks at him and she looks at me.
I was going to sing you that song.
And then turns back to Buck and says, are you two okay? Like, not, are you okay?
Yep.
Not, is everything okay? But are you two okay? And, Bobby Nash, OG buddy shipper.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. He's definitely got those papers signed already in the...
They're sitting in the top drawer of the desk.
Yeah.
And something about Bobby's voice asking that question snaps back out of it, and he just sort of very slowly says, yeah, we are great, and then collapses like a house of cards.
Yeah, completely collapses.
It takes all three of them to hold him up.
And he just looks so relieved. Like, he's got, like, this little smile on his face, but he's exhausted. Like, he's done.
Because, I mean,
he's not walking away.
It has to be, like, nearly 24 hours since...
Oh, for sure.
This has happened. So he hasn't slept.
It's nighttime, and they...
Is it nighttime, or are we up to early morning? Like...
Yeah, well, the sun's not up, but it's dark. Yeah, it must be late at night.
They didn't start it at dark, so, like, it's been hours.
He has not eaten. He's gone through a lot of...
And he's still bleeding.
Blood loss.
Like,
so...
Yeah.
So he collapses and he's just clinging to Hen as he's staring at Eddie, who is staring back at him.
And then we get the most interesting music choice in 911 history.
I don't know. I think there's some more on the nose ones, but this is definitely...
on the nose. But this is a choice.
This is a very distinct choice, and I think we don't talk about it enough, to be honest.
I think we all forgot about it until recently.
Yes. Thank you, Oliver.
Thank you always to Oliver Stark. If Bobby is the number one buddy shipper, then Oliver Stark is number two. Buddy shipper.
100%.
Anyway, Photograph by Ed Sheeran comes on.
Yeah.
Ed Sheeran, who may as well be the wedding singer.
Yep. It's definitely a choice.
It is a choice.
Yeah. I mean, on the surface level, it makes sense because we see a montage of them cleaning up after the tsunami, and there is a memorial that's been set up on the pier which is covered with photographs of the people who are missing or who died during the tsunami.
Yeah, and like the song starts with, loving can hurt, and, at the start of it, it's like, yeah, I see this. So yeah, like there's a whole memorial set up. Buck starts doing a voiceover while people like are cleaning up the streets. It's the end of this that makes it interesting.
Once again, the voiceover doesn't really match with what's going on with the episode. It's just like they've obviously thrown Oliver into the ADR booth just to have something to tie up the last few minutes of the episode.
Like, there's a lot of Lost at Sea talk.
Yeah, a lot of water imagery and being swept away, and
the waters rise and sweep us away.
Searching the shore for everything that we lost.
Yeah, you know, Buck's got no job at the moment, but it's fine.
But yes, we've got memorials. We've got we catch up and we see that Chuck and Adele finally got married in the hospital.
Adele's son has survived.
Yes, he survived. Chim and Hen are at the wedding for some reason.
Just the 118 inserting themselves into their patients' lives like boys.
Is it just Hen
yes,
and Chim?
It's just Chim and
Eddie.
It's just
Hen and
So
Chim.
Eddie and... okay, yep. Eddie and Bobby, you know, contributed to that too, but it's fine.
Chim wasn't even on the boat.
Got...
Chim was out on the...
Literally, I'm just like, where Chim was Chim
yeah, he was
there?
dealing
like,
with the Padre.
Yeah.
Out on the bow.
That's right.
Yeah.
Outside.
Yep, cool. Still in the hospital, Cooper's there surrounded by his crew.
His little feral kitten who's finally happy that she's got her captain back.
Oh, we go to the Grant Nash household where, like, Harry, Athena and Bobby are hanging out and May is, like, disassociating in the living room, but then Athena calls her to join and she comes over. She's now got something to write her essay about for college. We go back to the memorial where Charlie's putting a, like, poster up saying, "Miss you, Reggie," with a photo of Reggie she had.
Yeah.
I guess.
Also, side note with that,
screenshot the drone.
with
maybe?
Buck's like voiceover saying, and for the ones who couldn't swim, and then cutting to that is so brutal.
Yeah, it's so bad.
It's like, ouch.
Yeah.
Talk about victim blaming.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, Charlie is down at the memorial with Maddie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, she thanks Maddie for being there, so, like, maybe Charlie, like, called 911 and was just like, hey, can, like, big sister come down and, like, hang out at
My
this
mum won't
memorial
let me
with
leave the house. Can you come take me to the memorial?
Charlie has a weird habit of hanging out with strange older people, apparently.
Yeah. She has no stranger danger.
Literally.
But we finally end up at Buck's apartment as the voiceover sort of wraps up.
And as the song wraps up, which is the most interesting part of...
Yeah, because Buck's voiceover stops and we get the last sort of line of the song.
Wait for me to come home.
And then there's a knock on the door.
And it's Chris and Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie. Chris gives him a big hug.
He wanders in and just, like, flops against Buck to force him to hug him.
Leans on Buck.
Because he's got another pair of crutches, so he can't actually, like, hug him. So he just does that thing that cats do where they just, like, lean against your legs. Like,
yeah.
And
Christopher the cat.
yes. And
Yes.
Buck automatically, to his credit, automatically puts his arms around Chris, even though he's, like, completely shocked to see Eddie and Chris. And Eddie just, like, bulldozes his way into the apartment and starts rattling off instructions for, like, Buck and Chris's babysitting day 2.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
He's got a backpack. He's like, there's a morning snack and a midday snack. There's colouring books. There's a bunch of Legos. Between you and me, he's never built anything that looks like anything. You're just kind of, like, sticking them together. TV's over there, buddy. Have at it. And Buck's like, what the fuck is going on?
Buck is like,
there's $20 for
shell-shocked.
pizza. If I were you, I'd eat a couple extra slices because you look like you're wasting away to nothing. And Buck's just like, Eddie.
Hello?
Eddie. And Eddie's like, you know, honestly, you being laid up is working out for me. I mean, you're no abuela and you're half a Carla, but you'll do in a pinch. And
the front door is still
where Buck's
open.
like,
Bucks hasn't even closed the door yet. He's still in shock.
but Buck's like, you want me to watch Christopher? And Eddie's like, yeah, it's easy. He's not very fast.
This line gets me every time. Like, it's such an insane choice.
Like, Eddie's right there. He can hear
He
you.
had the line about the Lego
what
too,
am I?
apparently.
I know the Lego as well.
If the end of this scene wasn't so cute, I'd be like so mad on Buck's behalf right now because this is just ridiculous.
I mean, it's obvious that like Eddie is overdoing the chipness.
Yeah.
Yes,
just-
definitely. He's trying to make Buck laugh. He's like...
Yeah, he's like, we're not going to talk about
deflecting.
the elephant in the room. We're just going to go straight to, I'm going to drop my kid and force you to babysit, and then I'm going to bounce. And it's all going to be fine. Everything's fine.
It's funny because this is the first time it comes across as this is like the first time that they've actually spoken about what happened.
It
Or
might be.
but it feels like it's been a while. Like, obviously, Buck had to get out of hospital again because he probably had to, be checked over quite a lot if he lost a lot of blood and whatever. But maybe they did have a chat, and now he's just reminding Buck that a natural disaster happened. It's not your fault.
I feel like Eddie's been trying to call and Buck's just been hanging up
Oh,
on
yeah.
him the
Yeah,
whole
maybe.
week. And so Eddie's just like, fuck
Buck-
it. Going to pull the
Buck
covers
is
off again.
avoiding
Spiraling.
him. Yes. So it's like, I'm not going to let you talk. I am not going to give you a chance to protest. We are doing this.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been better if they'd actually showed some of that. Rather
This
than
show
just
does
bulldozing
not
his way
show.
in.
This show just tells.
Yeah.
This show lets fan fiction have its way,
Yes.
okay?
Yeah.
Anyway, Buck goes, you want me to watch Christopher after everything that happened? And Eddie just goes, a natural disaster happened.
It's
Yeah.
not your fault.
And Buck's like, but I lost him. And Eddie's like, no, you saved him. That's how he remembers it. And now it's his turn to do the same for you.
Which I think is such a cool line. It's really Eddie putting Buck at ease, saying, like, you're not at fault for what happened. I know you've been blaming yourself, but you are not to blame, and you did everything that you could. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's such a cool line, and it just shows that dynamic between Buck and Eddie of, like, Eddie being like, I know that you go into these spirals, but we're not gonna do that. Nothing bad ended up happening. We're good. It's fine.
Yep. And Buck still tries to deflect with, I was supposed to look out for him. And Eddie's like, what, you think you failed? Because I failed that kid more times than I care to count, and I'm his father. But I love him enough to never stop trying, and I know you do too.
Yeah.
And then we get the most insane moment where
Yeah.
Eddie puts his hand on Buck's shoulder, and Buck is desperately trying to avoid Eddie's gaze. And Eddie just, like, ducking and weaving and moving to catch his eye line, and says, like, this seminal buddy line, which is, there is nobody in this world I trust with my son more than you.
Oh.
Yeah.
And if the intense eye contact didn't do it for you, when Eddie puts his hand on Buck's shoulder, it's not on his shoulder, it's on the curve of his neck, and his thumb is resting on his collarbone.
Yeah.
That is not a friendly
Yep.
hand placement.
No.
No.
No, it is not.
It is, this whole scene is insane.
It's like, it gives me just like, like, how can they not?
I'm about to slide my hand up your neck and just cup your face.
Yeah.
Hand placement.
Yeah. It's so couple coded. It's ridiculous. Like, I can't believe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then Eddie immediately just
so then-
walks over to Chris and gives him a big smooch. He's like, love ya, have fun. And then tells Buck maybe try go to the zoo this time. Go somewhere inland. And I love that little joke is what finally snaps Buck out of it. He's like, we must be okay about it if we can joke about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now that Buck snapped out of it, Eddie stops and goes, thank you for not giving up. And then just leaves.
He's like, that's all I need to say. Goodbye. Have fun.
Have fun. Love you.
I wish.
And then you can see that Buck's spirits have been lifted by this. And he does have the voiceover that says a few choice words can sometimes be the life raft that gets you home. It's like, oh, he's feeling better about it.
To be seen, to be found, isn't that what we're all searching for? I still think it's a bit of a clunky voiceover, but, like, it works. It's fine. They don't tend to do well with voiceovers summing up major story points, but that's fine. I'll forgive them for that.
That's it. And then the episode ends with Buck sitting down on the coffee table with Chris, and they just share these big grins.
Yeah.
Just so cute.
It's so
cute
good.
ending. So yeah, I'm guessing that Buck's gonna be totally fine next episode and back into.
Oh yeah, because we've done
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
we've done the
Right,
tsunami.
no problem.
We've done with our trauma. We're not going to bother with anything else now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Everyone's fine.
The city will be clean. The people will be healed. Everything will be fine.
Yeah. Okay, so Ellen, did we oversell the tsunami arc? Because I know that we were all very excited about you getting to watch these particular episodes. Did it live up to the hype?
Well, yeah, I think it did. I really enjoyed, like, the action and kind of suspense of the whole thing was amazing. Obviously, you had the added bonus of the buddy element, but
Which, to be fair, is
some-
the only reason that we were really excited for you to get there.
yeah. I feel you. No, that part of it was great, but also that, like, okay, there were some elements of the individual kind of storylines that were a bit. We just have to hand wave a lot of things, but in general, yeah, great storyline. I enjoyed it.
Excellent. I think it would have really sucked if we'd been hyped it up so much and you watch it and you just come back on the podcast and like, what was that? Why did you guys want me to watch that?
What the fuck is this episode?
I hated
I'm a little bit
all
sad
of it.
that apparently it's downhill after this. I'm like, oh, this is the peak.
This is the best you've got.
No. It was extremely well put together, and also just the cinematography of the whole, like, the water rushing and all of that stuff was just brilliant. Like, very well made.
Yeah.
So
They really took the earthquake from season 2 and went, we have to escalate, we have to elevate above the earthquake. We need to do something bigger. We need to do something better. And I think they did it with the tsunami.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it seems like they've set a very high standard for all of the future emergencies.
Oh, for sure.
A very high standard.
Like, it's not every season that they can, drag out the Titanic tanks and fly everyone down to Mexico.
Yeah.
That's right. So we were saying about how Buck can't help himself with saving people. Like, he sees someone in danger and he has to go and rescue them. That's just what he does.
Yeah, he puts everyone else before himself.
Yeah, to the point where he actually loses Chris in the end because he didn't keep a hold of him because he was trying to help other people.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of like one of his many lovable traits, I guess.
Yeah, and also the fact that he's, like, just recently before that was in hospital with, like, several blood clots. So for him to just go to all this trouble when he's not well himself is pretty amazing.
And I think you see that kind of repeated right near the end as well.
It's probably one of those things where he doesn't feel unwell, though, is the problem.
No.
Yeah.
One of those things where he feels fine, he feels fit. It's just he doesn't want to accept that he needs to take things easy because regardless of how he feels, his body is not operating at 100% capacity.
Yep.
I mentioned to Alice in our chat that I had one thing that I noticed from, again, like not long after the tsunami hit. So I saw a tweet yesterday, I think it was, about Buck and how he acts around children. But he also has this thing that he does throughout the whole series. And it's like when he picks up a child, he like will make a noise and say, I got you, I got you. And that's the thing that he does. He does that throughout the entire series. But while watching the tsunami episode, realizes that he says it as soon as he gets his hands on Chris in the water. He says, I've got you, I got you. And like realizing that was just, it kind of made me go, oh my God, Buck.
Yeah.
Because it's just this thing that he does just every time he has, it's his happy kind of noise that he makes, or like, words that he says is like a comforting thing. And he says it to Chris when he
I have
finds
to
him
go
and
back
gets
and
him.
watch now. That's so cute.
Like, I saw it and I just was like, oh my god.
Oh, he's such a caring boy. I
Yeah.
love him.
See, now that makes me
Okay.
wonder whether that was something that was scripted or whether that was just Oliver.
I
And whether
really
that's a
want
decision
to know.
that Oliver has made that this is how he's going to act. Because I do love the fact that he is like an evil British princess off camera, and then he's just this ball of sunshine golden retriever energy on camera, especially with the kids.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
yeah, right? Like and the way that like he gets Buck to run, especially when he's frantic.
Gazelle run.
Like every time Buck runs, yeah, like it's so not
He
Oliver.
has like no control over his limbs. It's
Yes.
incredible.
Yeah, that's it. Like he runs with all four limbs, and it's like, how are you? What?
How do you do this?
Yes, the Oliver Stark acting choices are fascinating.
We didn't ever come up with a name for that, did we?
Well, it doesn't.
Like
I mean,
jackals
it doesn't
jacting.
quite. Yeah, it doesn't really roll off the tongue the way the jackals
Oliver's
jacting Joyce's
Voices.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Should we then just jump to the end of episode 3? Because this is one of the seminal buddy episodes. Like
Oh, for sure.
when you're talking about like where on screen, what is your proof for buddy? You point to there is no one in this world I trust more with my son than you.
Yeah.
They play an Ed Sheeran song.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like what choices? Like what?
The way that the song ends, like "Wait for me to come home," and
Yes.
then ends, and then the knock, knock, knock.
And
Insane
Chris
editing
walks
choices.
in. Yeah, I made a note about that. I'm like, because I'm doing the transcripts, and for some reason the transcripts have the Ed Sheeran lyrics mixed in with Buck's voiceover.
Yeah, I saw
and,
that too.
And then all
And
of a sudden
he says
you've just
something
got-
about the way that you kiss me or something, and I'm like, whoa, hang on a minute. It's a bit early for that, isn't it?
I think that was my
it's-
No, sorry, I can't say that. Sorry, Ellen.
No, don't tell me.
No, it's spoiler-free zone.
Sorry.
We're literally just episodes 2 and 3, or 1,
Yes,
2, and
yeah.
3. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I was going to make a joke
but yeah,
about the
it's-
Sixth
It's
Street
insane.
lyric, but I can't say anything about that because it will reveal the fandom stuff from this season.
But yeah, it's like actually insane. They play an Ed Sheeran song, and then like the eye contact.
Oh my god.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There is a rant in the notes about the way that Ryan chose. So Buck is Oliver has chosen, like, I'm not going to look at you because I'm ashamed. And Ryan's gone, fuck that, you're going to look me in the eye. And he's like ducking and weaving, trying to get into Oliver's eye line until they're locking gazes. Like,
And
boys.
And just with like the widest brown eyes too. Like he's not even like he's like wide-eyed trying to get his eye contact.
Yeah,
Look at
yeah.
me.
So we talk about the Oliver
It's
Stark
actually
acting
insane.
choices, but we need to have a special separate category for the Ryan Guzman acting choices. Like, what are you doing, dude?
And it's also the fact that that little moment happens right after he's been like saying just the funniest stuff about Chris. Like you have
Yeah.
like he's not very fast, or like he just like sticking
Between
things
you and
together.
me, he's never actually made anything of the Legos. He's just like sticking them together.
It's
He's just like sticking them
it's
together.
so funny. So you have this like moment where it's just like really funny, and then you just get that, and you're like, whoa, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Insane. Like who wrote the script? Who directed that? And how much of it was just acting
Well,
choices?
I mean, we can
Because-
answer that question because it was David Fury, and it was Chad Lowe. But I have a feeling that it was a lot of Oliver and Ryan making decisions on the day, and both the director and the editor just going, yeah, this is what we're going with. This looks good.
Like just act like you're in love with him. It's
Yeah.
fine.
I think Chad Lowe does do some good episodes.
And somehow he manages to pick up Buck's spirits just with saying those few words about you're the only person who I would trust.
There's no one in this world I would trust more with.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't watched it as many times. To,
A million times.
To-
The audacity. What are you doing? What do you do in your free time? Oh, that's right. Edit several podcasts.
I'm sure it'll come. It'll be like,
Step up your game.
I'd rather have you cursed or not kind of level of shippingness. Yes.
That entire speech from 1518 that we've all got carved
Oh my
into our
God.
ribs.
No, I can't.
God.
It's cry. sorry, that's supernatural stuff again.
No, I know the scene. I know the scene.
Yes, there is no escaping.
Mads is in
It's
fandom.
like, yeah, it's like, I may not have watched all of the show, but like I've definitely seen a lot of the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does say a lot about Buck in particular, that line sort of really goes deep to reassuring him.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously been beating himself up. The rejection-sensitive dysphoria is very real with him at this moment. And then for Eddie to very sincerely say that, I trust you more than anybody else with Chris. It really hits Buck hard.
Yeah, you can kind of see that on his face. He just kind of looks like he's been smacked.
Yeah, well, I mean, he obviously is devastated that he lost Chris in the first place, but then thankful that he was found again, but is now really worried that Eddie is not going to be his friend anymore, like, because he's just almost had his son killed.
Yeah, like, not only is he not working with Eddie, but like he also just lost his son.
Yeah. So, like, for him to just turn up at the door and, like, number one, surprise babysitting again, which is kind of like, fuck you, Eddie. But also for him to say that he trusts Buck with Chris's life, like that's the best thing he could have said to Buck to pull him out of that funk,
You can imagine that Buck has had a lot of instances in his life where he's screwed up and people have just like taken whatever he's screwed up away from him. Like, you can't do this, fine. Yeah. Let me do it. Or no, you're not going to do that because you fucked it up in the past. This is the first time someone's gone, yeah, okay, that happened, but now you're going to try again.
Yeah, like a natural disaster happened. It wasn't your fault.
I think you can even see that in Eddie's face, like when Buck is trying to tell Eddie that he's lost Chris. You can kind of see Eddie kind of being like, I want to be angry, but I can't, and I'm also really upset.
The psychology of Eddie around this is fascinating.
Oh,
because
for sure.
Because as a parent, yeah, you would be absolutely terrified that your kid was one, caught up in the tsunami, two, went missing at some point, and so you show up and the person that you thought you had entrusted your kid to no longer has your child.
Yeah.
And then trying to wrap your head around, is he angry with Buck? Is he, does he keep trusting Buck? Is he going to bring Chris back? Or is he going to try and find something else? But in the end, he decides that, yes, he does actually trust him.
Yeah. This
is where fan fiction is great, because I need to explore what exactly was going on in Eddie's head, especially in that scene where Buck is telling Eddie that he lost Chris.
Yeah.
I feel like Chris would have filled in the gaps a lot as well. Like, between, the tsunami hitting and being found by, being reunited with Eddie. Eddie would have been like, okay, what happened? Let's talk about it. And, as Eddie says, Buck saved him. Yeah. That's how Chris remembers it.
Yeah.
And if a 8-year-old is just no, it wasn't Buck's fault.
And I mean, I think it is a case of you can't really blame Buck anyway. He did exactly what Eddie told him to do, take him out, have fun. So it is a case of just, he did what he was asked to do. It just so happened that something tragic happened on the same day.
Honestly, the most tragic thing is that, Chris didn't get his bear.
No, that's so sad.
What happened to the bear?
And he lost his crutches.
Yes.
That's okay, he has new ones the very next day, so.
I'm pretty sure they've got multiple pairs of crutches.
Yeah.
I'm sure the bear is out to sea somewhere being eaten by some sharks as we speak.
It's okay, a baby shark has the
With the 911, I was fully expecting them to also find the bear and just be like, we got it still. But no, alas, they did make one thing realistic.
There were plenty of other waterlogged toys hanging around. They could have grabbed one.
Yeah,
although I don't think that water was very clean.
Ew,
no. I can't say I would want to keep anything from out of there.
Okay, so we've covered We covered Buck and Chris, and is there more to say about the buddy part of it, or?
Oh, can we talk about Bobby Nash, the OG buddy shipper?
Oh my God,
are you
yes.
two okay?
I love this scene.
It's like you could hear "I'll Be Watching You" playing in the background during that scene.
I love
He's
it.
so funny. He's so concerned.
But he's so concerned, but it's his choice of question that makes me feral, because it's not, are you okay? It's not, is everything okay? It's, are you two
Yeah, or
okay?
did something happen? It's, are you two
Yeah.
okay?
And, like, I'm sure that I could be, like, realistic and go that he's, you know, he's sensing the tension between the two of them, and he's thinking, oh shit, it's going to be like Eddie's first days. In the 118, these two are going to be at each other's throats. It's going to be tense. I don't want to go back to that. But my little Delulu heart is going, no, Bobby's picking up on what's going on between these two.
Buck's
Oh,
not
yeah.
even at work at this stage, so, like, it doesn't matter what the firehouse is like, because Buck's not there. And, like, Buck is covered in blood, and Bobby's question is, are you two
Yeah,
okay?
no, are you okay? Like,
It is a weird question, actually. Now that you mention
right?
it.
Is he saying, like, are you two okay as in, like, Buck and Chris? Or is he saying it as
No,
in,
no, no.
like,
No, because Chris isn't even near him
Because
at that stage.
he cuts
Chris
back.
and,
They cut
Chris
back
and
and
Eddie are
forward.
together.
I think that scene is also kind of like, you see that, you know, Buck putting himself before others come back, like I said before, because you see that whole thing of, he was fully prepared, like he was saying to Maddie on the phone, like, I'm fully prepared to continue looking, like I can't stop looking, and then you see that, like, him find out that Chris is okay, that Chris is safe, and then he finally lets himself be the one to be taken care of, like, he, you know, he collapses because he's just so tired and he's been bleeding.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
you know,
He's been running on fumes all day, and then
Yeah.
finally the adrenaline just leaves, and he just collapses, and he's clutching onto Hen like she's a lifeline.
yeah, and it's just crazy to see, like, how fast he went from being like, I can't stop looking, I've got to keep moving, I've got to keep, you know, trying to be the hero, be the person that Chris can rely on and save Chris, but in reality he was just absolutely just, yeah, like you say, running on fumes.
Yeah, the adrenaline was keeping him upright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. And I think we've all been there, like, when, you know, stuff's going down and you just keep moving and moving, and the second you stop, you drop.
You stop
Yeah.
completely. Yeah.
It just overwhelms you.
Yeah.
I think another cool moment in that scene is that we see, obviously, that lady bring back Chris. And you see her twice before that. You see her with Athena. So then Athena guides her to go to a certain area. I'm not exactly sure where she tells her to go. But anyway, she gets directed, and then she comes across Bobby and the rest of the 118. So it's kind of like this cute moment where the 118 really does bring Chris back to Eddie.
Which
Oh,
I'm going to
yeah.
go on a rant about, because... because what do you mean that he went from Athena to Bobby to back to his father and nobody recognized him? And he didn't recognize anybody else. Like, I'm sure the kid is a heavy sleeper, but come on. I'm also going to go
Yeah.
on a rant about the return of the pantyhose and newspaper dummy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because later when she is
Actually
I mean,
holding
obviously
Gavin.
she's probably pretty she's
Yeah.
struggling with him because he's
Yeah.
taller than the dummy was. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a lanky kid. Like, he's not small.
Yeah. It's hard to carry like a 10-year-old.
Like, he looks small when he's in Oliver's arms.
Well, that's 'cause-
because Oliver's 6'12".
yeah.
But
6'12".
It's the way she's holding him too. Like, it's not even a way you would hold a child. Like, it's just this like weird, awkward, like, I don't know.
It's the way you
It's
hold
like
a tall child that you can't hold on your hip or whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, it's weird.
But like any normal person would you not like piggyback them? Like, that
Yeah,
would make
maybe.
so much more sense.
I don't know.
I guess Chris was probably tired.
Honestly,
as well.
I'd probably have him on my hip, but that's like,
Yeah.
I'm a mum, so I'm used to carrying kids like that, and you can still carry them like that even when they're big.
And if you did that, like, you'd see his face a bit easier. Like, the point was that he was, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the fact that, like, when Eddie runs over to him, she's like, you must be Buck. And he's like, what? Like, no. So Chris has also been looking for Buck while Buck's been looking for Chris.
Yeah.
And, like, it's Buck that Chris hasn't shut up about. Like, oh, not, like, let's find my dad, the firefighter. No, I need to find Buck.
It's like, I'm trying to find Buck. Yeah, I'm looking for Buck.
I mean, to be fair, he probably has no idea where his father is.
Oh, God, no.
Whereas he knows that Buck was down there somewhere.
Yeah. But he was still like, no, I need to find Buck, which is super cute.
It's so cute. His Buck.
His Buck.
He's hanging with his Buck today.
He's hanging with his Buck today will forever be a crazy line.
I've seen it mentioned a few times as well, the ambiguity of it, I guess. So if they really wanted to cement, like, no, there's nothing going on between Eddie and Buck, Buck would have always been Uncle Buck.
Yeah, 100%.
Because, like, you know, everyone has those family friends that are, you know, your uncle or your auntie that aren't actually related to you. Like, I am auntie to several children that are not biologically related to me. They're just my friends' kids.
Oh, yeah, same. Like, one of my best friends, I think we've been friends since we were, like, 3. She's had 2 kids, and I am auntie. Like,
yeah,
I have to be, you know, because I'm around all the time. It just makes sense. But
whereas it's not Uncle Buck. It's like Chris's Buck. It's his Buck.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess you could make the argument that Chris is a little bit older, but he's only, 8? So
yeah,
it's still kind of that age where you probably would say uncle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Eddie could definitely have introduced him or started talking to him in conversation as Uncle Buck this, Uncle Buck that, and Chris would have picked it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just that testament to Buck's position in Eddie's life that he doesn't even consider the separation. It's just like, this is Buck.
Like, if they really wanted to be like, no, they're brothers, that would have been the easiest way to shut it down.
Oh, 100%.
Just when you say Uncle Buck, it just reminds me of that movie.
I've seen so many people say that.
That John Candy movie. No, it's awful.
Which
no,
movie?
Please, no. Uncle Buck, it's a movie. It's from like the 80s or something.
I haven't seen it, thank goodness.
Oh, yeah, I've seen reference to that.
Yeah.
It's got Macaulay Culkin in it.
Yeah, when he was... It was around the Home Alone
Is that the
era.
one where Macaulay Culkin's sitting at the table and like, where do you live in the city? Do you have a house? Is that movie?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Ah, okay. Yeah, never seen it, but I have seen that scene.
It's like the same kind of, I don't know, lowbrow kind of humour as Home Alone, but not Christmas. I don't think.
Okay.
But no, Buck is definitely not Uncle Buck. You're right.
No.
He is.
It's his Buck.
His Buck, yeah. It's very cute.
I think the bafflement on Buck's face in that scene, just, it always cracks me up every time I watch it. He's just like, what do you mean he's hanging out with me today? Like, what? I was fully prepared to stay in my bed.
The audacity of Eddie just turning up and like being like, okay, you're looking after Chris today. And
oh, but not even like knocking, just letting himself in, letting his son in, and then storming up to the bedroom
out of bed.
and just literally pulling the covers off
And
him.
again, Buck could have easily been naked. Let's...
Yeah, I mean, he hadn't left the house for a week. Like, why put on pants?
Exactly.
I think this is like one of those moments where you just truly realize, like, oh, you know, they definitely have keys to each other's houses. Like, that's also...
And like you can bring it back to season 1 where like Hen has a key to Bobby's house.
Yeah.
But like this, it's so much. It's such a different energy because Hen never used it unless there was an emergency. Eddie just lets himself in.
You could argue that it was an emergency on Eddie's part. That he felt
I need to go to work and
a
I've got no one to...
It's like, I need a babysitter.
I sent Carla to the casino. Who do I get to babysit?
It's like when he says that joke, like at the end he goes, you know, you being laid off is working out real well for me.
Yeah.
Like, you're not Abuela, you're half a Carla, but...
Fuck it.
He's like, you know, you'll do in a pinch, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, to be
backhanded
fair, Eddie
compliments.
had Chim babysit when Chim was in a coma.
Yeah,
So.
very low standards for babysitting as far as...
He's very low
Yeah,
standards.
that's right.
Like, Shannon's not allowed near him, but it's fine. Anyone in the 118 can go near the kid, it's fine.
Oh, we really took it there.
Oh.
I am the number one Shannon apologist, I should say. She is my wife, so I'm allowed to make jokes about it.
No, valid.
Do we want to cover, like, is there anything we want to say about the other members of the 118?
There are other members of the 118 in this episode?
Yeah, who?
I think the main one that... I think the main scenes that I remember are the ones that Maddie does, I think.
Yeah.
With all her calls. Those are all devastating.
I do like that
Yeah.
moment where Buck calls her because he can't find Christopher, and she starts off calling him Buck, and then shit gets real serious and she slips back to Evan.
Yeah.
And that's when you
Yeah.
know that things are serious, because she's calling him Evan.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like she's going back to, their childhood, I guess. Going, oh, things are
She's
serious.
gone into mum mode.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is interesting, like how quickly they've written her as picking up that he is Buck now.
Yep.
Because I think after the first couple of episodes, she's calling him Buck constantly. Except when things go wrong, and then he's Evan again. I guess maybe it's her way of acknowledging that he has grown up.
I think it makes it a little bit easier, I think, with it being just kind of a shortened version of their last name. I don't think it's a name that's too hard to remember, I guess, for her. I think if he'd had something crazy, maybe it would have been a little bit more difficult to slip into calling him that, but...
Like if it was Chimney or something.
Yeah. Fire hose.
Oh!
No!
No! Ew!
We just won't go there.
No.
Oh no.
No, that would go with the fanfics where Buck walks in on her with a shower and then just doesn't leave. Which I'm sure
no!
exists out there somewhere.
I was about to say, that exists? Oh my
It
god.
has to. What is it, Rule 134? If it exists, there's fanfic of it somewhere on the internet.
Oh, please, no.
And I mean, we
don't
come
wanna
from
think
the
about it.
supernatural fandom where they write fic about two brothers, so of course
It
we
doesn't
expect
have to
that
be
you.
somewhere out there there's
Yeah.
going to be, like, incest fics for 911.
Oh, I don't want to think about it, actually.
No.
Oh god.
But yeah, to be fair, like, I rarely call my brother by his name. Like, he literally calls me and he's like, hi, sister. And I'm like, hi, brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just, I think that's just part of being siblings.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that nickname just didn't stick around for Buck. Like, obviously because Chimney's one has. I'm so glad that just didn't. Because, imagine if just everyone called him that.
I don't know whether that was a nickname or whether that was just his,
I
like,
think it was just his
online
username.
handle.
Yeah.
So it's
True.
not something that he sort of walked in, and, Bobby says, sit down, Evan. And Buck goes, oh, actually, everyone calls me Fire Hose.
Can you imagine? There was the whole Bobby's face, like, if that can happen. Oh, I can only imagine.
He'd be on the phone with the chief so fast
Like,
asking
yeah, no.
for a transfer.
Like, HR?
Oh, they don't have a HR department.
That's so
Gerard would
true.
not have lasted as long as he did if they had an HR department that actually was functional.
Oh my god.
Which is funny, because they do in Lone Star.
Yeah,
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
they do. I think the one scene with Maddie that always confuses me in this episode is the one right at the end when she's with Charlie, the girl.
Oh, yeah. She randomly
with the
shows
drone.
up to take Charlie to the memorial.
Yeah, why? Like,
And how?
it just seems like just something you wouldn't do.
It's because Maddie likes to creepily involve herself with the outcomes of everybody's.
Yeah.
Oh, you say that, and then we've got next episode next week.
Oh, is it that episode?
Except we're not
Yeah.
recording next week, it's
Oh,
next year.
God.
Don't tell me.
I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to foreshadow that you think Maddie likes to involve herself now.
Yep. Yep.
It was funny when Maddie was talking to Buck at the end there, and after she said that, she said something like, you have to tell Eddie about Chris. I'm coming down there.
Oh, yeah, and then immediately hangs up the phone.
You're like, I don't know where the dispatch center is, but you getting there is not going to be an easy thing right at the moment. Like, you can't.
Yeah, like the roads are blocked. It's
like, what did you think you were going to do? Yeah.
But I mean, to be fair, this is the woman who managed to summon a cell phone signal out of thin air during the earthquake. So if there was anybody that was going to be able to make her way from the Seymour Centre to the VA hospital in Sawtell, it would be Maddie.
Yeah, true.
True. She finds a way. She finds a way to get to Buck. Always. But also we just don't see her show up either. Like, that whole plot of her coming down just doesn't end up even needing to be a thing.
Yeah.
She probably showed up like 2 hours later. I'm like, where is my brother?
He's just, like, passed out in a cot.
Buck just texts her, lol jokes, found him. And then, like, a selfie of them both. All G, bro.
Yeah, don't worry about coming down. It's fine, we're good.
Yeah, DW, all G. And Maddie, who's like 10 years older, is just like, what's DW? What's all G?
God.
Actually, now that you mentioned that, they don't show, like, at the end of this arc, they don't show any of their, like, cleanup or anything. They just, or anything that's happening to the characters.
They show a bit of the
until
cleanup.
much later.
Oh, yeah.
Like, until Buck's actually back at home and still feeling sorry for himself or whatever. They show Buck and like, Bobby and Athena and the kids at home, you know, like, after everything is resolved, I guess.
They're still trying to scrub Buck's blood off the footpath outside.
So I guess I guess it makes sense, because once they've resolved the Chris disappearance, then, and everyone is in a safe place, then there's not really any more drama to deal with.
Exactly.
So.
We said over and over again that this show loves to ramp up the drama, but then as soon as the drama has, like, hit its peak, they're not interested in the aftermath.
No.
And we're done.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Next
And
episode, there was never any tsunami at all. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, like the next episode, there's like an emergency on the pier and the pier's fine.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say I'll be interested to see if there's any repercussions of any of this next time, but okay.
Probably not.
I think they just never show the pier again. Like,
Yeah.
what pier?
It got demolished.
Yeah.
It doesn't no longer exist in the 911 universe.
Yes.
That's it.
Maddie, were there any other scenes in this arc that particularly stick in your mind, apart from the, like, obviously the last one?
Ooh. The scene with May in the car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big one from this arc, I think. Obviously for reasons that happen later as well. But just, I think it's Corinne, right, who plays May?
Yeah.
Yes.
She acted her ass off in that scene. Can I say that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Totally.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this many of these episodes are rated explicit mostly because of me, so it's fine.
I mean, we did have that whole Amigaverse chat in one of the episodes too, so.
Yes. But yeah, that scene there is one that has always stuck with me since watching the episodes for the first time. I think it was just such a incredible scene, especially like when it goes, you know, it starts fading out and all you hear is just kind of like, it's all muffled because it's kind of mimicking May's shock, I guess. And then you just hear in the background, she's got a pulse. And then you get the, she's alive. It's like, yes.
Yeah, a surprising number of people actually survived, like named people that we know actually survived this. Like, it's just the guy who drowns in his own house and...
Oh, that's so sad.
Oh, yeah, that's awful, that scene.
And Chad.
Yeah, we don't care about him.
No, but we're never meant to care about him. They set him up to die from the very beginning.
Yeah.
The guy who was on the pier sketching, he died.
Oh, yeah.
What was his name? I can't remember. That's the one that
Reggie.
Charlie... Reggie.
Reggie.
But I think everyone else survives.
Who's
like the guys who were
Chad?
impaled together.
Oh, Chad.
Oh, Chad's the name that we gave the guy who gets electrocuted.
Okay,
in the
cool.
Athena scene.
I was
I
going to
was
say, like, that guy, I've just listened to the Karma's a Bitch episode. So my first thought was just like, Karma's a bitch.
I was, for the notes, I was trying to work out what the male equivalent of a Karen would be. And I got told that the male equivalent is a Chad, so he became a Chad. Otherwise, he was going to be a J name, because J names are also act like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a Jared or...
Ha!
Jensen, no, wait.
We can't say that in our fandom. We get attacked.
My ex-husband is Jared, so I 100%.
Oh, okay. You can say that. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, we're changing the name. It's not Chad anymore. Oh, I have one note here that I made while I was watching, and it's like when Buck first shows up at the is it the VA hospital, and he's like trying to check the lists. That lady checking the lists way too quick. There's no way she's read all those names before saying, nah, not on the list, by the way.
Well, see, I
But the
wondered
way-
because we saw two different nurses with lists. So how does everyone have a copy of the same list?
Because
Where are they printing it?
Exactly.
But also you see them you see the nurse physically write down Eddie and Lena's names too. Like, doesn't she go to the other one and be like, okay, these two
you
people
gotta
have
add
now
these
shown
two.
up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
can't have two lists. That's just going to be...
Yeah, otherwise,
difficult.
like, you have the list for that particular tent, and you're like, no, there's nobody in that tent. Go to, like, this tent, this tent, this tent, and then if I've been to all of the tents and I can't find him, then I go to the black tent.
but it's
No,
that
just go straight to
scene.
the morgue.
The way that nurse says just goes, you may want to check over there.
Yeah.
Hello? That's
Yeah, that was
so
mean.
uncaring.
That was really mean. It was cold.
Yeah, you can understand, like, she's tired, she's overwhelmed, she's, like, all of her sensitivity is just gone. But yes, it was a very abrupt, no, we don't have your kid, go check the dead people out. He might be over
I was
there.
like, wow.
Because, like, we have it in the plane crash episode where Buck's looking for the guy who Abby asked him to find.
Yes.
And, like, that nurse is so much more, like,
Caring.
sympathetic.
Yeah.
To be fair, she's probably not as run off her feet. I think the casualty rate for the plane crash was a lot smaller than for the
Yeah.
tsunami.
Very true.
But yeah,
Slightly smaller scale.
that actor is probably watching that footage back going, oh my god, why did I choose to say it like that?
It's like even
Why did they pick
No,
that
kid's
take?
so
Kid's
sorry.
dead.
Like even like an I'm so sorry, but like
Yes.
maybe check over there.
Yes.
Like it's just that you may want to check over there. Girl, please. Just for Bex and Alice. So Chad Lowe, the writer, is it the writer for this?
Director
the
for
director.
this one, yeah.
He also directed Buck Bothered and
Yep.
Bewildered and
Yes.
Confessions.
He is a fan favourite. We love Chad.
The director's name is Chad, and you just named the guy
just
Chad.
sing
That's
Chad.
so
Yes.
funny.
Sorry, Chad.
I know.
We love you, Director Chad. Director Chad, I'm sure you're listening right now. We love you. We will actually send you a muffin.
Director Chad and writer Andrew Myers.
We will send you
ones we
muffin
love.
baskets.
Yes.
We're sorry for naming a terrible character
Please.
after you.
What is it? Please come back for 8B. Please. Please.
Just like do every episode of 8B. Thank you. Bye.
Please.
Hey, so Maddie, was there anything else that you wanted to tell us about this arc that you particularly love, or have we covered everything?
I think we've covered everything, to be honest. I think it's just yeah, overall, I think it is just one of the best opening emergencies, easily. I think just the way the characters interact with each other and all the scenes that, we get that kind of do set up a little bit of stuff in the future, I think is really cool. Just in subtle ways.
All right, so what do we have to look forward to next week?
Well, it's not next week.
Oh,
We'll be taking a bit of a break because we're very quickly coming up to Christmas time.
Yep.
So, like our favourite Weewoo show, The Weewoo Show is taking a bit of a hiatus.
Thankfully, we
Yes.
haven't left anybody in peril this time.
And we also won't, we'll be back a long time before March because we'll miss it.
So the next time we record, we will be discussing episode 4, which is called Triggers.
Oh, that's confusing.
Mm-hmm.
And the triggers.
The triggers for Triggers. Well, no, for the summary for Triggers is that the first responders race to save workers in a high-rise during a fire drill. A mother and her sons are involved in a perilous car accident, and squabbling siblings fight over a family heirloom. Meanwhile, Buck delivers surprising news to Bobby. Eddie helps Christopher cope with the trauma of the tsunami. Hen and Karen debate expanding their family, and Maddie decides to take action against a possible abuser.
Jesus, what an action-packed
Wow.
episode.
That's
a
Everyone's
lot
got
of
something
stuff.
going on.
Yeah.
I think they named literally every storyline that happens in this episode. And as in with the last couple of episodes, we've had a special note that Ronda Rousey guest stars. So we get more Lena Bosco.
Yay!
The triggers for Triggers. Ironically, the first trigger is that a character gets triggered. So if your trigger is other people getting triggered, then that's going to happen.
Stay clear.
There
It's a
is
bit
a
on the
discussion.
nose.
There is a discussion of cancer, domestic violence. There is an epileptic seizure shown on screen. There is a family at threat. There is stalking. There is discussion of PTSD and childhood PTSD. And there is a very vague misuse of the law trigger, which I'm guessing relates to not so much misuse of the law, but just 911 dispatchers doing what they do and
Yep.
breaking privacy laws again.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
Love to see it.
those pesky privacy laws.
So they just hold me back.
All right. Well, we have to say thank you, Maddie, for coming to talk to us about this episode.
Thank you so much for joining us.
And for
Thank you for
sticking
having
around
me.
for the entire rant as well.
Yeah.
It's just like great hearing it live.
Well, we appreciate you coming on.
No, thank you for having me.
Everyone go check out, it's _the Mads Buckley.
Yeah.
Go check out Mad's artwork because it's amazing.
Thank you. I put a lot of time into them.
Okay, so if you want to let us know what you thought about this episode arc, like we'd love to hear if this is your favourite disaster arc or what you think of the buddy scenes or whatever you want to tell us about. You can contact us in lots of ways and you can find all of that information on our website, which is thatweewooshow.com. Or you can leave us a comment directly in Spotify as well now or on our social media, including Blue Sky. Come and find some Blue Sky. We're there too. It's much nicer than Twitter. So thank you everyone for listening and we will talk to you next time for episode 4, Triggers. Happy holidays as well. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.
911 is a fictional show, but many of the situations portrayed happen in the real world too. If any of the topics we've discussed in this episode have affected you, please know you're not alone. You can call or text numbers in your country for help. Just Google crisis support in your location to find out the number. If you enjoy our podcast, you can help us out by leaving us a review on Spotify or your preferred listening app, and by sharing our social media posts. Find out more at thatweewooshow.com.
As you can tell, we never go on tangents. We always stay very much on
Oh, yeah.
topic.
Yeah,
I
it's
would
smooth
be-
snailing from point A to point B.
I'd be really disappointed in you guys if you didn't go on tangents, in all honesty.
Excellent, that's great to hear.
Like, Ellen and I had to record something quickly just to stitch in the other day, and we completely forgot Angela Bassett's name because Bex wasn't with us with her notes. And so there was a full 2 minutes of just us being
We're
like,
just like, what is her- Her
it's
name's,
not,
her name's
like-
Athena, right?
it's
Oh
not
my
Athena.
God.
but,
Seriously?
It was really
It
sad.
starts
But we works it out.
But it's not, like, to be fair, we both, like, finished work for the day. We were so fucking tired. It was the day before the episode came out, and we just had to stitch it in. And we were both just like, it's not Athena, but what's her name?
It all that would be funny.
What would you guys do without me? Seriously.
We would cry just constantly. Like,
we'd be hopeless.
It would be shambles.
Apparently.
Sorry, Mads, we're a bit unstructured with this.
We're also very tired. This is our second recording in a row.
That's okay.
Speak for yourself. I shot a black coffee and then a large Red Bull, so I am.
Oh my
Whoa. God! Okay.
just sitting there, just like vibrating.
I see colours.
To episode 3 later, and it'll just be Bex like talking real fucking fast, and the whole episode will go for 30 minutes. And Ellen and I will start snoring halfway through.
Nobody will need to up the speed on this episode because I'll just be like 0.25 months on my own.
They'll put it faster, and then Bex will start talking, and they'll be like, whoa, 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 whoa.
There was one episode where literally Bex and I started writing a fanfic about the background firefighters, which is where the obsession with the background firefighters started. Because it was so boring. I was focusing on the rest of the team.
Have you finished this fic?
No, it was it's snippets.
It's just in the group chat, which is
it was it was like Bobby calling them all the wrong names, and like them being like, "Do you think he even knows our name?" And like all of them getting like being made to stay back after a shift because of something that was happening with Chimney, and they're just like, they remember fucking Chimney's name, date of birth, and like everything that's going on, but he can't even remember like me.
I think you need to write this though.
Where
please.
I think there was one snippet where one of them comes racing out to the others, like, guys, do not go into the locker room. Buck and Eddie in there, and everyone's just like, again?
Well, I've got the screenshots like in my season 6 notes.
I need you guys to write this. I genuinely need it in my life.
It was so funny.
Might be a hiatus project. Once I get this threesome fic out of the way, maybe I can take a stab.
Once I've finished ice cream before dinner.
Yeah. This was like me and one of my other friends. We were discussing how we should write a fan fiction that was based on like the old One Direction fanfics. You know how like the person would get sold to One Direction. We're like, what if we just sold Buck to Eddie?
They put their hair up in a bun and they come downstairs for breakfast and discover that their parents have sold them to One Direction.
Yeah, so we had Buck putting his hair up into a messy bun and walking downstairs, and his parents are selling him to Eddie Diaz.
Oh my god! Thank God Craig's still recording.
We were pissing ourselves. We were like, oh my god. And then we had the like
it's perfect because he would have like the beautiful blue orbs staring at him.
I was like, and he, Buck let out the breath he didn't realize he'd been holding.
And you can only publish it on Wattpad. Like you can't publish it only Wattpad.
Really cringy cover.
But you know what's really sad? I could imagine Buck's parents doing that.
Yeah, that's what makes it realistic.
Yes.
Oh god.
Oh my god.